From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Drussel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned.
Hey, hello everybody. How is everybody doing today?
Good.
Or this evening? How are you, Garrett?
Good. Hey, what about the fact that I came in here with all you guys with a little bit of pink eye and forgot to tell you?
Yeah, Garrett's like been touching everything in the studio.
And we didn't notice.
So now, yeah, and now we are all gonna get red eye. But let me show you guys something. Look at that. That's what happened. Garrett got mad at me and punched me in the eye.
I was like, dude, stop getting the facts wrong in these cases.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
No, actually, my clumsiness, I was at the car wash, and I bent down to throw some stuff away, and those little things by the vacuum cleaners that you put the hose thing in,
Yeah.
bam, hit it on my eye. Huge blood blister. Did this last Friday. I thought it'd be better by now, but
You know why, though?
it gives me street cred.
Yeah, A, it gives you street cred, and then B, I know why that happened to you.
Guys.
Yeah, do you mind with the sidebar, please? Thank you.
Okay.
I know why it happened to you.
Why?
It's because your mind was going so much on this Zodiac thing, and you were just thinking about it, and you're like, boom!
That's exactly it.
Eyeball, dude.
That's exactly it. All right, I'm going to say some hellos here. Randy Southwell, my buddy, hello. Melinda, I'm just going to call you Mel for short.
Jared Garner.
Jared Garner, I said Randy already. Kathy, hello. Thank you guys for joining in. And we'll wait a little bit for you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce my lovely wife, Pam. Pam, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How was your week this week, Pam?
It has been very hectic.
And what have we been doing around the house, Pam?
Sleeping.
And besides that, packing.
Watching you pack.
Watching me pack. That's right. She's done none of it. But no, she works about 7 days a week, so she deserves to take her naps. And we got another little special guest here. We had him on last week.
Little's right.
My son.
I hate you.
My son, Dylan. Everybody say hi to Dylan.
Hi, Dylan.
Hello.
Hello. Say it again.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Talk like a man, young man.
Hello, everyone.
There we go.
I'm really excited Dylan's on here, though, as a soundboard, because he knows a lot about this stuff.
Well, he knows a lot about true crime. I guess he gets that from me.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Keith.
That's
Does
right.
not. It does
That's
not.
right. Hey, Ann, good evening to you as well. And what did you guys think about last week's show on the Zodiac, that first one we did? Because I walked away and I thought, oh, that was a horrible show. But then after I listened to it, I thought it wasn't as bad. But it's because I'm a perfectionist. No, I'm a perfectionist, and so it's like when I want things, the slides, everything to go right.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
So like everything, I'm always like, dude, that was amazing.
Yeah. He'll barely prepare, and then he'll hope for the best.
Yeah, dude.
But I hope everybody's got their coffee. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you,
Tell me something, and then I gotta tell you something.
I'm drinking this coffee, guys. It's called Death Wish. Hey, Mona. I'm so glad. We were just talking about you, Mona.
Mona's here.
Mona's here. But I got this coffee called Death Wish. It's got 600 grams of caffeine
I've heard of it.
per cup. It's amazing.
That's good.
You can't sleep. But
Good. Yeah.
No, actually, I do okay with it, but it's really good. It's a little expensive, but it's good. It's almost as good as, well, it's probably as good as Starbucks.
That's crack cocaine.
Yeah, well, I drink, because I drink their Cafe Verona. I love that stuff.
Yeah, you've always been kind of like a coffee guy, like coffee connoisseur.
I love coffee.
I had one thing to tell you, though.
What?
Is that I forgot to tell the audience this last episode, but I've actually been studying the Zodiac case since I was 5.
Wait, what?
5 years old, yeah.
He's lying.
Yeah, no.
That's why last episode I pretty much carried the team.
Really, man.
Yeah.
I did watch the movie when it came out, though, and was obsessed with it. So just so everyone
Yeah, the
knows.
movie's amazing. It's such a good movie, even
Jake
though.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, but it's even though you know it, that at the end they're not going to find out who the Zodiac is. It's pretty.
Which was shocking to me at the time,
Yeah,
because I didn't know.
because you didn't know about it. Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, talk about an exhaust. I mean, besides Delphi, this one is.
Jeez.
It's
yeah.
a rabbit hole of just
different,
confusion. It's different. But so many people, like when you're searching for facts, I mean, you got one person that says one thing, you got someone that says a different thing about the same thing that happened. You're like, which one happened?
Right.
And it's almost like Freedom of Information Act. Just get the police records on it or something.
Well, it's like, two sides to every pancake. Like with Delphi, it was like a water hydrant.
Yeah.
And with this, it's like just a steady stream.
Yeah.
Like no matter where you go, you're going to get a steady stream of information about every single aspect of it. Whereas Delphi, it's just like crazy amount. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to say again, viewer discretion advised. Now, guys, I got someone that left this like magazine article of criticism to one of our Delphi shows.
Kind of flattering, honestly.
And I've got 2 now complaints about, well, you guys are laughing way too much for this. It's like,
God forbid we laugh.
yeah, if you know what, get off my channel. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
We want this to be like we're all sitting around on the couch, drinking some coffee, having a few laughs. Yeah, we're talking about a very serious subject, but it's okay. We're not making fun of the victims or their family, and I don't see it's disrespectful. If you want disrespectful, watch BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Oh, God.
Those guys, yeah. So anyway, what I don't get is why someone took that much time. I mean, Garrett, it was like 7 paragraphs long.
You sent it to me and I didn't read it. That's how long it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like,
I like reading too.
so it's like if you see us giggling, as she put it, then
Oh, she's called it giggling?
she called it giggling.
Oh, that's funny.
So if you see giggling and you don't like it, go to another channel.
Yeah.
I go to channels. If I don't like it, I don't write this horrible review about these guys. It's just, hey, it's their style. It doesn't work for me, so I'm going to watch something else.
Forget about it.
But there's a lot of people out there who they just get off on, doing this kind of thing. But
It's funny, isn't it?
it adds a little humorous, but it's a little frustrating because
Yeah.
we've only had 2. I mean, 2 people say, you guys shouldn't be laughing. And it's like, get over it.
I'm like, did you read that?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, take that.
I know.
Exactly. So I'm just telling you right now, if you get offended with me and Garrett laughing, then watch another
Because
channel.
most of the time we're laughing at like the fact that we're ignorant about something.
I went back.
We're like-
I went back and watched some of it. We were not laughing at any of the murder scenes or talking about the murders.
no.
You
We
would find that funny.
We're like horrified.
there's nothing funny
Yeah.
about it. I mean, but if Garrett farts or something, I'm laughing.
Which I don't, and I never have since
Or
I've
if
been
something,
born.
if something funny happens, we're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a good time. Like I said, man, I want this to be like I've got all 200 of you in my living room, and we're just sitting around chatting, man,
Hey, can
talking
you,
about crime.
200.
Hey, can you?
Hey, the next,
Yeah, the next house.
the new house, I won't be able to get you in there.
Yeah.
A massive party.
Yeah, and that's something else I'm going to bring up. We are in the process of moving. So right now we're just going to be doing 1 show a week, and this is probably going to go all the way through March because we don't close on this until the last of February. And the first thing we're going to do, talk to the wife. We're getting a studio set up so we immediately can start broadcasting and keeping the schedule going. So
Absolutely.
right. And then once we get kind of settled in there, then we'll go back to the 2 shows. But right now with work, family, and I mean, me and Taylor boxed up the living room yesterday. I mean,
I'm
in
so
just
proud of
one
you guys,
small
dude.
section took an hour or longer.
You guys have lived here for a long
We've been here a
time.
long time. We've been here for how long? We've been here, Pam?
Praise lots.
20 years, and we're actually packing 2 houses.
Oh,
Yeah.
true that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're packing her dad's house
Yeah.
as well after that. So we're going to be super
Hey, you know what
busy.
that's called? That party we're gonna have at your house that you just told everybody we'd have.
What's that?
Whenever you said we could have 200 to 300 people in your new house, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what that kind of party's called?
What?
That's called a humdinger. It is. Have you ever heard of a humdinger?
I've heard of a humdinger, but
That's what
I
that
never
is.
heard
It's
of
a
it.
massive party.
So
Like
if
a house
we look up
welcome?
humdinger, that's the
Well, it's a song by Old Crow Medicine Show.
yeah.
I would suggest everybody
Well,
listen to Humdinger.
Humdinger's been around for a long, long time. That's sane. But yeah, so you guys are all invited.
You're invited to our
yeah.
Humdinger.
I'll buy a big sectional. We'll get everybody in there. We'll have coffee, some drinks. We'll have a great
Like,
time.
Sectional seating for 300, please.
Yeah, but Randy, you're gonna have to smoke your cigars outside. No smoking
True.
in the house.
That goes for everyone though.
That goes for
That
everybody.
goes, yeah, that goes for everybody.
Unless you vape.
Okay, so let's go on. Like we were saying, this case is unsolved, has been for over 50 years now, and man, I had no idea, Garrett. Did you know that one time they said there was 2,500 Zodiac suspects?
I did know that.
So we're going to go through all those tonight. No, I'm just joking. We picked the 4 main ones, and then my son Dylan, there's some new names that came up. He's going to go over those with you guys. So he's going to make his second debut.
They're not necessarily new, more so like just not really talked about.
Don't correct your father.
I'm sorry.
Do not correct your father under this roof. No, and I think I would call
There's all
him
kinds
like.
of issues about respecting your elders on this show.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
My
Yeah,
apologies.
I'm the worst one.
No.
I would call them like fringe suspects though, like fringe suspects.
Yeah,
like a few of them.
yeah. I mean, and there's some that's just, and there's others that are just so ridiculous it's not worth going over.
Drew
Yeah.
On
Carey.
that. Drew Carey. He does look like that picture,
That's what
though.
Dylan said. No, he said the Price is Right guy.
Yeah, that's exactly. What
But at the end of it, I mean, let me ask you this, because I didn't even talk to Garrett about this. Do you have a subject you like?
I do.
Okay. I have one that I got kind of two. I don't know.
You're
What
talking
about you?
You're talking about a suspect that we think that actually did the killings.
That may have actually been the Zodiac.
I lean towards 2.
Okay.
I can't say it's just one.
Pam, you got any?
No, I'm kind of the neutral
The-
observer in
Yeah.
The nerdy.
No, the neutral observer, because you guys are the ones that are really versed in this stuff. I'm
Yeah.
kind of the neutral party that is hearing a lot of this stuff for the first time, so it kind of allows me to develop an opinion as we go.
Well, I guess Pam just took my job.
Yeah. Oh, you can be replaced. Garrett can be replaced.
Yeah, you will be. You will be replaced.
All right, gotta keep looking at the monitor and seeing this big black shiner. But see, it's opposite because of the camera. Like right here.
Yeah. You should see the other guy.
Yeah, you should. That's the first punch he got. The rest of it was all me.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and that big. Well, I don't want to say pipe. That sounds bad. Me and that big steel pole.
Wait.
That
Stop.
sounds
Hey,
bad too.
No, stop laughing in this
Quit laughing.
studio. There's
this
no
is
laughing.
this is a serious subject. This is nothing to laugh about.
You and your big pipe.
Yeah, all you guys have 5 seconds to get off here right now. All right, so let's get started. What do you think, Mr. Garrett?
What do you mean? What do I think?
Well, should we get started?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This lovely young lady here is Cheri Jo Bates. Okay, and then Garrett always gets me on this. Put your glasses on.
Yeah. Get your glasses on.
Get your glasses on, old man. Okay, on the morning of October 30th, 1966, Bates and her father attended Mass at the St. Catherine of Alexandria Catholic Church before the two shared breakfast at a local restaurant. In the early afternoon, Bates opted to visit the college library to both study and to work on a research paper. She is known to have twice phoned a close friend of hers at 3 o'clock and at 3:45, respectively, asking whether she would like to accompany her to the college library to study and retrieve books, although on the occasion of the second phone call, her friend refused. Bates is believed to have left her house to visit the college library sometime between 4:30 and 5. Her father returned home in the evening to find a note taped to the family refrigerator reading, "Dad went to the RCC library." And what does RCC stand for, anybody?
Oh.
It's the one library.
Riverside
Riverside.
City
Community
College.
College.
He said community. He didn't study at all.
Yes, I did.
I'm just teasing. An eyewitness report given to Riverdale's investigators indicated Bates drove her Beetle Bug in the direction of RCC at approximately 6:10 p.m. This eyewitness also claimed her vehicle was closely followed by a bronze 1965 or 1966 model Oldsmobile. According to many eyewitnesses, Bates studied in the library until the standard closing time of 9 p.m. A subsequent witness statement obtained from the RCC student given to investigators would claim that a young man whose age she estimated to be 19 or 20 years old and approximately 5'11" in height had been lurking in the shadows across the street from Bates' vehicle and been staring in the direction of her car around closing time of the library. Although this witness did not know the individual lurking within the streets, as she passed him, the two had exchanged brief pleasantries. Bates' father waited the entire night for his daughter to return home before filing a missing persons report with Riverside Police at 5:43 a.m. He filed this report after phoning Bates' close friend Stephanie in the early morning hours, only to be informed that she was not at her residence and had intended to study at the RCC library the previous evening, having held no plans to spend the evening away from home. At approximately 6:28 a.m. on the morning of October 31st, a groundskeeper named Cleophas Martin discovered Bates' body on the ground at RCC. Bates was found sprawled face down on a gravel path between two unoccupied houses on Teresina Drive, close to the library parking lot where she had parked her Beetle the previous evening. She was still dressed in a long-sleeve, pale yellow print blouse and faded red capri pants, and her woven straw bag containing both her identification and 56 cents laid alongside her body. Her clothing was undisturbed, but was saturated in blood. She had been repeatedly stabbed in the chest and left shoulder and suffered several deep slash wounds to her face and neck. 10 feet from Bates' body, investigators discovered a cheap paint splattered Timex brand wristwatch with a 7-inch circumference along with a footprint of a shoe, produced by Leavenworth's prisoners, sold solely in military outlets. The shoe size was between 8 and 10 inches. Although Bates was only 5'3" in height, Bates had been an athletic girl. Both an examination of the crime scene and Bates' subsequent autopsy revealed ample evidence of a ferocious physical struggle between Bates and her murderer. She had evidently scratched her assailant's arms, face, and head and torn off his wristwatch. Bates' Beetle was parked just 75 yards east of the location where her body was discovered. The ignition wiring of the vehicle had been deliberately pulled loose, but the ignition key was in place, and both the driver's side and passenger window were rolled partly down. 3 library books on the subject of United States government were lying on the front seat, and several smeared greasy palm prints and fingerprints were found upon the vehicle. Investigators would determine these prints did not belong to Bates or any of her friends or relatives and believe they may have belonged to the murderer. An autopsy revealed Bates had been repeatedly kicked in the head, in addition to having received 2 stab wounds to her chest inflicted by a knife estimated to be 1.5 inches wide and 3.5 inches in length. Her left cheek, upper lips, hands, and arms had also been cut, with 3 slash wounds to her throat, having severed her jugular vein and larynx and almost decapitating her. Bates had evidently lain upon the ground when she had received the knife wounds to her left shoulder blade and neck. Furthermore, she had not been subject to any form of sexual assault or robbery within this attack. Numerous fragments of skin and brown hair were also recovered beneath the fingernails of her right hand. This evidence having evidently been collected beneath her nails as the clawed at her, I'll be done reading here in a minute, I promise, at her assailant in the desperate efforts to defend herself. The ground surrounding her body was described in her official autopsy report as looking like a freshly plowed field. On November 4th, 1966, Bates was laid to rest at the Crestlawn Memorial Park at Riverside. Her parents, older brother, and several hundred other mourners were present at the service. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and catch up on the slides here. I think I might actually read all and then kind of go through the slides.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's just easier. But yeah, let me go ahead and finish. Anyway, what you're seeing right now, this is between, there was 2 houses at the time of the RCC, and both of these houses, I think is one of them, they stored library books they had in, so both houses were not occupied. And Cheri was found, you can see her body barely in the foreground on the right side.
In that picture?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, man.
And so we know the perpetrator knew that to take her there and to do this violent assault and killing, that these 2 houses weren't occupied.
Yeah, so familiar with the area.
Right. Okay, 1 month after Bates' murder, 2 identical typewritten letters arrived at Riverside Police Headquarters and the editorial offices of the Press Enterprise. The author of these letters described in detail a likely scenario as to how Bates had been lured from her vehicle and subsequently murdered. This author described in detail how he had first disabled Bates' car before allegedly watching her repeatedly attempt to switch on the ignition until the vehicle battery had drained of power. He had then offered her assistance, claiming his own vehicle was further down the street, thus luring her away from her vehicle. According to the author of this letter, after the 2 had walked in a short distance from her car, he stated to her, "It's about time." And Bates had replied, "About time for what?" To which he had replied, "About time for you to die." According to the author, he had then clasped his hand over her mouth and pressed a knife against her neck before forcing her to walk to a dimly lit alley where he had proceeded to beat and kick Bates in their initial struggle before stabbing and slashing her to death. The author of these letters claimed to have known this victim, proclaiming, "Only one thing was on my mind, making her pay for the brush-offs that she had given me during the years prior." Due to the fact the letter included details of the murder which had not been released to the press, including the fact the ignition coil and middle wire of the distributor of Bates' vehicle had been disabled, investigators initially believed that the author of the letter may have been the actual murderer, although later advances in forensic technology, such as the DNA retrieved from this letter not matching the actual DNA retrieved from beneath Bates' fingernails, make an unlikely possibility the author of the letter could have been the actual perpetrator of the crime. That's weird.
It is weird.
On April 30th, 1967, the Press Enterprise printed a further update on Bates' murder. The following day, both the police and Bates' father received handwritten letters from an unknown individual who had scrawled the message, "Bates had to die. There will be more," on a single sheet of paper. This letter was also considered by police to have been a distasteful hoax, although at the bottom of each letter, Garrett, guess what it said?
What?
It had the letter Z.
Interesting.
It had been hypothesized that Bates may have been an early victim, perhaps the first victim of the identified serial killer active in Northern California from the late 60s to the early 70s, known as a Zodiac killer, and that this unidentified individual may have originated from Riverside and later moved to San Francisco Bay Area. The inscription upon the River City College library desk is, let me say that again, sorry. There was a desk that somebody found, I don't know if it was a janitor or what, but one of the potential clues supporting this theory was the discovery of a set of lowercase initials at the bottom that inscribed RH, and we'll get to that. It was a very disturbing poem. They found this thing in the college storage area at the time the poem was discovered. Although the custodian informed police the desk had been on the library floor at the time of Bates' murder, police photographed the inscription and added the piece of circumstantial evidence to the case file. Furthermore, the fact that the perpetrator subsequently sent correspondence to the police and press, including details of the murder withheld from the public, is reminiscent of the Zodiac killer. In addition, Riverside police have also noticed similarities between Bates' slaying and the general modus operandi of a fatal attack upon a young couple committed at Lake Berryessa in September of '69, an attack conclusively ascribed to the Zodiac killer. San Francisco Chronicle journalist Paul Avery followed the series of murders committed by the Zodiac killer from the date of perpetrator's first definitive murders. In November 1970, Avery received a letter from an anonymous source informing him of the similarities between the murders committed by the Zodiac killer and the murders of Bates 4 years previously. The letter urged Avery to investigate the similarities in great detail. Although Riverside police remained unconvinced of his conclusion, both Avery and handwriting experts named Sherwood Morrill stated on November 16th that the handwriting scratched on the desk at the RCC and the letters sent to the Press Enterprise and Bates' father in 1967 were unquestionably written by the same individual who had written the Zodiac letters. By this date, the Zodiac killer claimed to have killed 14 victims, although only 5 murders and 2 attempted murders he had committed between December 68 and October 69 have ever been conclusively attributed to this individual. Officially, Bates' murders remains an unsolved case, and the theory she was a victim of the Zodiac killer, which has been strongly disputed by Riverside police, has never been proven, despite several suspects having been investigated and eliminated from the inquiry since 1966. The current investigator assigned to the case, Detective Jen Simons, has stated one individual still remains of interest to the investigation, although because tests conducted upon the DNA of the hair and blood samples found at the crime scene did not match those of the suspect, insufficient physical evidence exists to link this individual to the crime. Investigators who conducted DNA profiling were, however, able to determine that her murderer was a Caucasian male, and following the murder of Bates' family established a memorial scholarship at RCC, this scholarship entitled the Cheri Jo Bates Memorial Endowed Scholarship. So the reason I brought that up, and we didn't bring that up last week, is this murder wasn't really discovered till Paul Avery got that letter and got some tips that the Cheri Jo Bates murder sounded a lot like a Zodiac killing, right? So let's go through these slides. That way...
Kind of does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much. I think absolutely. And the Zodiac did take credit for that later. He sent a letter saying, "Oh, I see you found what I was doing in Riverside. Good work," or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Sherry's body. This is where they found her. They found, like I said, they found her between two abandoned houses where the library would store extra library books in there. So this killer had to known that there was nobody in these houses.
Mm-hmm.
So there had to been some connection, you would think, to the library,
Right.
or to Sherry.
Or just to that area, right?
Yeah. And this is a further picture of her down there, and you can see the scoreboard out there. That's still there, actually. I got a recent thing. There's the Timex watch.
And that was from the killer, right?
That was, they believe, was
Oh,
from the
believe from
killer.
the
It's
killer,
found
right.
next to her body.
Okay.
Okay. So I know this is kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you.
So they said the handwriting on the desk that was etched into the desk matched the Zodiac's.
Yes, and the word blood is, when I looked at it, because I've looked at, I'm not saying I'm a handwriting expert whatsoever, but I've looked at a lot of Zodiac letters, and the word blood, he has that space between there. We're getting ready to get to that picture, but what we're looking at here, this is what the college looks like today, and if you can see out towards the top, I put a red star, I put an orange line from the library. So Sherry walked to her car, was trying to start it. It would not start, and the battery finally ran down. So this guy had messed with her distributor cap.
Surprise, surprise.
Right. So he says, "Hey, I've got a car just around the corner. Why don't you follow me, and I'll give you a ride home?" So I'm wondering almost if she knew the guy.
Hey, Sherry, you okay?
Yeah. Hey, Sherry, what's up, man? And what's wrong going on with your car? And she felt safe enough to say yes. So as if you follow my line here, it goes past that, and then you take a hard left, and where that arrow is where they found Sherry's body. And now it's all, they totally rebuilt onto this college on both sides of the street, where the houses where they tore those down long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where they found her. So going to, this is Sherry's beetle bug. And on the circle there is just of her books. Oh, and by the way, I did that map by myself. Hey,
That's good job.
didn't steal it
Did
from.
you really?
I did not steal it from anybody. Yeah, I put it in paint.
Nice,
I figured
nice.
out you can put this in paint, and there's a few
Look
things,
at
man.
us. Look at us.
We're
evolving.
we're evolving, aren't we?
apes.
So the funny thing too, Garrett, they said that there was grease on her books. So it's almost like when she was in the library, he got to her distributor cap, got the grease on his hands. Why he was touching the books, which is stupid, because you
Right.
think you'd leave prints or whatever. But they did find grease on the school books.
But this is one of the earlier murders, right?
Yes.
So he would make mistakes.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is the letter he sent. Now, unlike Zodiac, this letter was typed. And but there is something in here that's similar to Zodiac. And I'm going to try to read this as hard for
Did you get your glasses?
Shut up, Garrett. Would you? I'm going to try to blow this up.
There we go. I can even read that.
Nice.
She was young and beautiful, but now she is battered and dead. She's not the first, and she will not be the last. I lay awake nights thinking about my next victim. Maybe she will be the beautiful blonde that babysits near the little store and walks down the dark alley each evening about 7. Or maybe she will be the shapely blue-eyed brunette that said no when I asked her for a date in high school. But maybe it will not be either. But I shall cut off her female parts and deposit them for the whole city to see. So don't make it easy for me. Keep your sisters, daughters, and wives off the streets and alleys. Miss Bates was stupid. She went to the slaughter like a lamb. She did not put up a struggle, but I did. It was a ball. I first pulled the middle wire from the distributor, then I waited for her in the library and followed her out after about 2 minutes. Minutes he misspells, which is common Zodiac.
Right.
I mean, he misspells everything. The battery must have been about dead by then. I then offered to help. She was then very willing to talk with me. I told her that my car was down the street and that I would give her a lift home. When we were away from the library walking, I said it was about time. And she asked me about time for what? I said it was about time for her to die. I grabbed her around the neck with my hand over her mouth and my other hand with small knife at her throat. She went very willingly. Her breast felt very warm and firm under my hands, but only one thing was on my mind, making her pay for the brush off that she had given me during the years prior. She died hard. She squirmed and shook, and I choked her, and her lips twitched. She let out a scream once, and I kicked her in the head to shut her up. I plunged the knife into her, and it broke. I then finished the job by cutting her throat. I'm not sick. I'm insane. But that will not stop the game. Okay, there's another key. Game.
Right.
Zodiac always put game in his letters. This letter should be published for all to read it. It just might save that girl in the alley. But that's up to you. It will be on your conscience, not mine. Yes, I did make that call to you also. It was just a warning. Beware, I'm stalking your girls now. And Chief of Police. And Dylan, would you please put this outside?
Man, there's a lot that actually stands out in that letter.
Yeah, so the word, I'm going to go to the word twitched. He spelled it Twiched, and in another Zodiac letter, the word twitched is used,
Right.
and guess what? It's spelled Twiched.
Wow.
So it's highly likely,
Hey,
I believe the Zodiac wrote this letter.
Does this letter predate the handwritten ones?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, this is going, this, the Zodiac started, well, what we know, in 68, right?
right,
This happened in 1966.
right.
And that's, someone had discovered this and let Paul Avery know about it. And he started looking into it, which him and Dave Tosky kind of got into a little match about that.
Right.
He's like, I'm the cop,
Yeah.
I'll take care of this.
But I mean, yeah, and Avery was the journalist, right?
Avery was a journalist
Yeah.
for the Chronicle.
But I mean, how many murders are there where a murder occurs and then the killer writes and sends it to Avery?
Jack the Ripper. No.
No, I mean, it's rare though. You
no.
know what I'm saying? Like just that in itself.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
rare.
And the fact that he said, I want you to print this letter.
Right.
I mean, that's common Zodiac with all his other letters. He wanted them.
And common threats. That generalize the public as into induce
you better
fear.
do something. If you don't catch me,
This
I
is
will
on
keep
you.
killing.
It's not my fault. Yeah,
Right.
this is your fault if you don't do something.
Why is this murder not confirmed that it's the Zodiac, though?
Do what?
Why is this murder not confirmed to be the Zodiac?
Because they don't know who the Zodiac is, and they have I mean, they have. We'll talk about suspects in a minute, but they don't have any hard evidence to
Link it
connect anybody to
I
this murder, much less the Zodiac murder.
What about the desk, though? They said that handwriting was
Okay,
matched the desk, right?
I'm getting ready to read the desk right now as we speak.
Okay.
Well, let's see. it.
Okay, so the maintenance guy found this desk, and I'm going to read this to you. Sick of living and unwilling to die. Cut, clean, if red, clean, blood spurting, dripping, spilling, all over new dress. Oh, well, it was red anyway, life draining into an uncertain death. She won't die this time. Someone will find her. Just wait till. And hang on a second, let me bring that up. Just wait till next time, RH.
RH.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. First, okay, if everybody can see the word blood, that is classic Zodiac spelling, BL/OOD. He put a lot of, we talked about that last week, he put a lot of spaces in words, almost like he's sounding them out and trying to figure out how to spell the word.
So
and
he put the B and L together and then spaced the
Right.
OOD.
OOD, right.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and bring up this a little prematurely, Ross Sullivan. Now, some people claim, you look at RH, and I know this is a stretch, but they say if you take that H and you turn it right, it becomes an S.
Yeah, I get that.
So
It
Ross Sullivan.
also,
But that again, that's really reaching and doesn't prove anything. But
It's something to bring up.
it's something to bring up,
It is,
absolutely.
yeah.
Definitely.
And that R, if you see that R, that's classic Zodiac. The way it looks, he has that little hook. It looks like almost a V. Can you see it, Dylan, on that screen?
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Well, he was into games though.
Yeah.
So
And
like
he
the
talks
RH,
about.
you know what I mean? Like that RH could have been something there. A, he was either playing a game, or B, he was going to continue to go, and someone walked by and he decided not to.
What was the color
You know what I
of,
mean?
of Cheri Jo Bates' pants when she was found dead?
They're pink,
Pink?
like a hot pink.
Okay, so could that be like, because he said they were red. In that poem,
Yeah.
the person said they were red. Is it possible that...
He could be referring to that, maybe.
Okay.
But he said dress.
He did, but he
But-
also, I don't know.
Well, was this found before or after the murder?
This was found after the murders.
Okay.
Okay. And they do have proof that this desk was in the library at the time of her murder.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is Ross Sullivan, everybody, right here. Let me try to get that a little bit better.
That wine.
Oh.
Come on, dude. This is not easy. This is not an easy
God.
episode. This is not an easy episode for me.
Yeah.
Like
Okay?
dead bodies. Yeah.
Golly.
Garrett needs a glass of wine,
Living in a
everybody.
bottle.
So you
I'm
just
coming.
you interrupted the show for your wine. I love it.
No, your wine.
Yeah. Anyway, so Paul Avery, this is the subject that this man wanted Paul to look at. His name was Ross Sullivan. He lived in Riverside. He worked at the RCC library, and they said they found a military boot print like at Lake Berryessa. Well, guess what kind of shoes this man wore?
Military boots.
Military boots.
Walkers.
He dressed in fatigues. And Garrett, tell everybody, since you're in the military, what fatigues are.
That's what you would wear in combat or in training.
Right. They said he wore a big long coat, kind of fatigue pants, and he always wore military boots. So Ross Sullivan, he's born on July. You know what I forgot, Garrett?
You gotta get those glasses on, dude.
I need contact lenses or something. All right. Ross Sullivan was born on July 28th, 1941. He was mentally ill teenager and was committed to California Patton State Mental Hospital in the late 50s and early 60s after his mom died. His Methodist preacher father, who graduated from Yale Divinity School, earned a master's degree from Harvard and his doctorate from Princeton, effectively abandoned his family at this point. So he left, so Ross had a mom that died, right?
Right.
And dad splits. So he's basically, there's some child abuse, psychological
Right.
abuse
Yeah.
going on right there.
Abandonment.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
abandonment.
Definitely.
And let's also look at this. We just said his dad went to Yale, Harvard, and Princeton. So
Really?
he was very intelligent.
Right.
So, that's genetic, I think, intelligence. I'm smart. Dylan's really smart.
Yeah.
Of course.
His family had moved to Glendale, California from Binghamton, New York. I hope I said that, Binghamton, New York. There's a great deal of evidence that he may have been the Zodiac killer who terrorized California in the late 1960s. Ross Sullivan wrote a paper on cryptology while attending RCC, and it was reported that he wrote a paper on how to disguise your handwriting. He lived near the library. He worked at the library, so he knew the two houses would be empty when Cheri was killed. Cheri's killers sent letters to the family signed Z. Both Zodiac and Z misspelled the same words, Twitch, writing it Twich. Okay, so the evidence is Sullivan, and this is another thing, trying to find the height of people, even on a computer, is hard. I got from 6'1", 6 foot, 6'2", so we'll just say average of 6 foot. Sullivan was over 215 pounds. Sullivan was known to wear wing walker boots. Sullivan took cryptology in college. Sullivan did a thesis on cryptology. Also wrote a paper on, I know I'm repeating myself, but that's okay. Also wrote a paper on disguising your handwriting. Sullivan knew Cheri Jo Bates. Sullivan worked at the RCC library. Sullivan didn't go to the library for over a week after the murder. He didn't show up for work
Right.
after she died. And when Ross Sullivan did show back up at the library, guess what, Garrett? He completely changed his style of dress and stopped wearing military boots. Sullivan moved up north after he transferred to San Bernardino College after the Bates death. I think he actually started living in Santa Cruz, and the Zodiac murder started at the same time he moved. So,
Lots of coincidences.
Now, for Ross Sullivan supposedly wrote a letter on how to disguise your handwriting, right?
supposedly.
But the whole thing with Ross Sullivan is that his handwriting also matches the Zodiac letters.
He has some very strong similarities in the handwriting that they found.
which is kind of ironic.
Very ironic.
There's a lot of coincidences there.
Now, some of the evidence that would be against Ross, and I looked, guys, I could not figure this out. Anyway, look at this picture here, towards the sketch, But again, like I said, I know everybody in the late '60s looked like this. The crew cut, the horn rim glasses. Okay, it was reported that Ross Sullivan did not drive. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you can not have a driver's license and drive.
Now, did you only read that at one place or what?
I looked and looked, and I found one person said yes, he did drive when he was in Riverside, and then after that he had stopped driving.
It's interesting. Why would you
So-
stop driving?
Well, I don't know. He was mentally ill for one thing,
Right,
and
right.
he had later in life he got morbidly obese. That's another thing is, a lot of people said, well, it couldn't been him because he weighed 300 pounds. But from some research I did, he didn't hit the 300-pound mark until like 75, 76.
Right.
He was around
When he was retired.
220. Yeah, because there's pictures of him that you can look when he was in college, and he didn't look 300 pounds. He looked maybe
Well, even right there.
220, 230, something like that. Just a big guy.
Yeah, that's
They-
like my size.
The people that knew him said he didn't look flabby. He looked like kind of an athlete.
Yeah.
He was just a husky guy. But he to me, there's
Man, I told you, I was texting you real late the other night, and I was like, it has to be this guy, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same, like, in every case, it's like, we go onto somebody, and then we're like, we read something, and then it takes you a different way.
Back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. But, man, with Ross Sullivan, though, there's a lot of compelling, and I even said it the other night, like, coincidences and outright murder don't happen very often.
No.
What if they do and you lock up an innocent man?
What if they lock up an innocent man?
Yeah, because you say that and then
Oh,
end
true.
up locking up an innocent
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No, true. I mean, it happens all the time.
From chat, Italian in Laguna who
Yay.
is from the area.
Hey.
Is very familiar. Said that is aware of the houses and things. States that another compelling thing about Ross Sullivan is he died around 1977 or 1978,
77.
which is about the time the letters stopped.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Which, he could have just, letting himself get out a little bit. I mean, if you're morbidly obese, it's really hard to commit this kind of stuff, right?
Oh,
Right.
definitely,
And so, but
definitely.
yeah, he's still feeding his cravings by sending these letters and by torturing the public and, making everybody fearful.
Yeah, he actually. I mean, I really like him for these murders, but
I do too.
and now, even if he didn't commit Zodiac, I definitely think he killed Cheri Jo Bates.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
what are the odds? He worked at the library. He doesn't show up for work for a week after she
Right,
dies.
yeah.
When he does show up, because there's actually a librarian that's still alive that they interviewed and talked to her, and they said we all thought Ross did it. They said he was one of those standoffish guys. He was very quiet. He just kind of stayed to himself. He said that no one there at the library liked being left alone with him.
Is that like instinct?
Yeah, and she said she goes, well, he stunk really bad.
So do I.
Really?
Yeah, they said he didn't bathe, and he.
That doesn't mean
and,
he's
it
the
was probably,
murderer.
and it could be just because he wore the same clothes.
True.
She said he wore the same. She goes, he wore the same clothes every day. She said he had military boots on, the fatigues, and a long coat.
Yeah.
Which is almost like the gothy kids later
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
started
yeah,
dressing like that.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so with the letters, did that letter that was typed, did that come out? It predates the handwritten letters from Zodiac.
Yeah,
But did it come out later after those, or did those were those published in advance, and so that the Zodiac could have read those? Just a question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good, and that's a really good question. Because we think that there's possibility that Zodiac would read newspaper articles about crimes, and
Right.
he would write in saying he did
Being
it.
more than one person.
Yeah.
Right, right. So
So these were published.
now that's the thing and maybe the people from that area know, because I'm not sure that the paper actually published that. I mean, it says my hand on her warm breast. I mean, back then that
know,
was
yeah,
risque.
Yeah.
That was very risque, especially.
Yeah, and it was even kind of difficult for me to read that.
Well, we could have even, they could have even released something like, "Hey, this guy sent something," because that information you might want to get out to the general public about. There's somebody prowling. Oh, and they signed it with the letter Z. So now I'm just trying to tie this into where where Zodiac reads it and is like,
Oh, yeah. No, I see
Z.
what
Okay,
you're saying,
yeah,
definitely.
Zodiac. Okay, cool.
Right.
I'll start doing my handwritten letters.
Okay, well here's one thing that the Zodiac would not have known. All right, whoever sent these letters, whether it's Ross or whoever.
Twitch and Twitch.
No, well, Twitch, and that's good.
That's
but
weird.
the envelopes all had the same. Zodiac always double stamped
What
everything.
a weirdo.
He double stamped every
Yeah.
letter. These letters that arrived at the police and at the paper, double stamped.
I mean, yeah, there's no coincidence there.
Yeah, I mean,
if you put it all onto one table, like the amount of coincidences and stuff that don't add up, I mean, this table over here is like 15 miles high.
yeah,
It's weird, but then because then you would definitely think that it was most likely Ross Sullivan at that point.
Right.
yeah. I mean, but they, Dave Peterson, I think was his name. He worked for the Vallejo Times, and he found out about Ross, and he kept sending Dave Tosky information like, Dave, look at this guy. And Dave was so tunnel vision on Arthur Lee Allen.
yeah.
He didn't like Ross for the murders. And in fact, he kept writing, going, Dave, have you checked the fingerprints? Have you compared them? He's like, I didn't have time yet or whatever. But he was so set on Arthur Lee Allen.
Right.
I think
Which happens. That's
yeah,
it's
he
common,
had, yeah. I loved Dave Tosky was
Yeah.
great, and Bill Armstrong, his partner. Both of them, both inspectors, great investigators.
Well, isn't that why our kind of discussions though are important? Because we get to, from a bird's eye view, kind of look at these stuff. Those guys that are on the ground, oftentimes when you're so close to something, it's hard to actually see it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Kind of like when you're trying to read without your glasses.
yeah, and even and even to
No, but really though,
he's a
like
funny guy.
no, funny guy.
I amuse you?
That's great. Hey, no, but really though, that's why like this kind of discussion is important because we're sitting here talking about it. What 50 years later?
Yeah,
And we're
and people should.
Yeah, they should
Because
yeah,
the family is still. I mean, they still don't have any resolution of this case.
Well, and also if we find. Oh wait till the fourth episode when we uncover who the Zodiac actually is.
oh God, are we doing another Zodiac show?
No, but like say for instance this case is eventually solved though.
Yeah.
Then they can backtrace and look at it and be like, dude, where did we go wrong all these times? Obviously technology plays in a huge part, but it really could like put us in the mind of somebody that actually does these things.
Yeah,
Like for the first time, I mean, Dahmer just admits it. Dahmer's like, yeah, well, I just needed to do it,
yeah,
But like Zodiac doesn't. This is baffling. This case is bizarre.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
every
and-
corner you turn is like, what? Why?
And there's so many and there's two that I like. And the next one we're going to talk about is Lawrence Kane.
Like him, dude.
No, we're done. Are we done with Ross Sullivan as a
No,
suspect?
you got something to say about Russell? Go for it.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, is the next? We're on our second suspect now.
Yes,
Okay.
we're moving on. I mean,
Okay.
after we get done, like I said, we're sitting on the couch just shooting the breeze, right? We'll go back and discuss
Yeah.
all this.
Yeah.
But okay, and I'm just going to basically, Lawrence Kane was born on April 29th, 1924 in Brooklyn, New York. Klein, and his last name was Klein, not Kane. That was a alias he used.
Weird.
Yeah, he went to use many aliases. He was kind of a petty criminal,
Yeah.
burglaries, peeping Tom, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Especially in the late 60s, he got busted for looking through people's windows.
Prowling.
Prowling.
Right.
Prowling and peeping. Kane had a lengthy criminal rap sheet dating back to the 40s. Okay, so let me get his picture because he really looks...
Wait. When was Kane born?
Do what?
When was Kane born?
Kane was born in 1924.
1924.
So that puts him around 45, I think, or something like
Do you
that.
know how bad you have to be at being a criminal in the 40s and getting caught?
That's true.
Just pointing that
that's
out.
Very true.
Like
The-
criminals nowadays
the
are
lack of
way. Can you imagine
technology?
time traveling back to the 40s and committing? I could commit so many crimes.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So these are the reasons he could be the Zodiac, and then I've got some reasons that he may not be. He had a brain injury in 1962, a year before the first possible Zodiac killings, as a result of massive brain damage from a God, this is written bad. Let me start over. Had a brain injury in 1962, a year before first possible Zodiac killings, as a result of a massive brain damage from a 62 automobile accident. Kane was allegedly diagnosed by a psychologist in 1965 as losing the ability to control self-gratification
Interesting.
or having self-control issues.
Right.
Yeah, being satisfied with what you've
Right.
done.
Right.
Okay, the next is he had a lifelong history of being arrested, but finally stopped getting into trouble with police in 1968, just before the main Zodiac spree. Like many other suspects, new victim Darlene Ferrin. Everybody knew Darlene Ferrin. it
Golly,
seems like.
dude.
And some say he was the man she feared. In 1969, lived in San Francisco, just a few blocks from the crime scene. He was said by Officer Fowkes, and remember Officer Fowkes?
Wait, context. What crime scene?
Yeah.
Do what?
What crime scene?
The Stein.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a
just make
Paul
sure everyone
Stein.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said a few blocks from the Stein crime scene.
Oh,
You said crime scene.
you said crime scene.
I'm
You said
sorry,
crime scene.
Stein crime scene. See, okay, you're fired.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Okay, so do you guys remember last week we talked about the two officers who saw the guy on Jackson Street after the Stein murder?
Falcon Zelm or whatever.
Yeah, Officer Falk was shown this picture 25 years later, and he said, "Yeah, this looks to be the closest I've seen out of all the pictures."
Now that doesn't mean that was him.
Absolutely. I mean,
Nah,
because he
yeah.
didn't say, "Oh, that's the guy."
Yeah.
He said, "This is the closest I've seen out of all the pictures I've
Yeah,
looked at."
and also keep in mind, like we talked about at the last show, these are two officers in the late 60s in a pretty tumultuous time in an area responding to a crime scene where they think it's somebody of a completely different race.
Right.
So his snapshot, his memory, especially 25 years later, could be faulty.
Absolutely. Was positively identified by lucky victim Kathleen Johns out of a police mugshot of 18 peoples in 18 peoples 18 people in 1992, who is also sure he was the Zodiac. So we talked about Kathleen Johns. She was the lady that was driving in her car. Some guy was flashing, honking behind her. She pulls over.
Jeez, dude,
He
that's
says, "Hey,
terrifying.
your tire's wobbling. Would you like me to tighten the lug nuts on it?" And she said, "Yes." He's actually loosening them. She drives off.
What
Tire
an
falls
asshole.
off. Yeah. Well, he had killing on his mind.
Well, I mean, and that ties him into the Riverside, where he's in there with the distributor cap, messing with the car.
automobiles. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
but
messing with the car, setting
me-
up the
Me being older than you guys, everybody knew back then to
Our cars
disable
and-
someone's
yeah.
car, you just disabled the distributor cap.
Right. But when it happens with a kidnapping and a murder, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, it is.
I guess the thing, maybe I just would never think to do that because I would never think to
You're just
murder,
dumb, Garrett. You're just
murder
dumb.
somebody.
And like we talked, last week, they brought her down to the station, and she was sitting there being interviewed, and they had a picture of the Zodiac sketch, and she
Right.
said, "That's the guy who picked me up."
Now that
I believe her.
the weird thing is that the Zodiac sketch came out before 1970, right? Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So how did she not see that there's a serial killer on the loose and not see a sketch beforehand and then sees?
Hey, I don't read the papers. I mean,
Yeah, but
No,
also,
but like that's back then though.
Yeah,
That's
but-
paper's your only news source, really.
yeah,
isn't
but here's
it?
the thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, you're driving down. You got your baby in the back. You're in an old shitty car probably. You're driving down, and all of a sudden,
No foul language.
oh, sorry.
No bad language.
Sorry. You can give me my spankings after the show.
that's right.
You're driving down, setting the scene, driving down, it's dark, your baby's crying or asleep, whatever, and somebody's honking at you to pull over. You pull over for some reason, probably.
Right.
Right, yeah, I probably would, honestly. And then all of a sudden, in the dark, they're like, hey, your back wheel's about to fall off. I just don't
Well,
think-
haven't you had guys like pull up beside you and they're pointing, because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
left your gas cap
All
open
the time.
and they're pointing like,
yeah,
hey, hey.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, thank you. I don't really care. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So for her to like look up, she's probably a little bit startled anyways. I bet she didn't draw. I bet she wasn't like, oh, the Zodiac's like trying to help me.
Yeah.
That's almost a part of the tactic, right? It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
I'm gonna
It's-
help you out.
It's a damsel in distress.
Yes.
So he becomes the hero. Hey, I'm going to fix your car for you.
Yeah.
And then that just builds the trust up more. I mean, when the tire comes off, man, he goes, geez, it must be worse than I thought.
Yeah. Well, it's the
And he goes,
shock
"Let me
and
give you a
awe.
ride."
And he
It's
comes off very nice, like,
Yeah.
hey, I
Right,
can
yeah.
help you out.
Yeah, and it's
that's,
that- okay,
that's still a time too where it was very common for
Help
people to
each other.
hitchhike.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
all the
know?
time.
Right. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be, terribly odd for someone to pull up beside another car and
Right,
hey, whatever, pointing at something,
Right.
and you don't really think You know, I mean, honestly, if someone does that to me today in 2020, I don't necessarily think
they're gonna murder me.
They're gonna murder
Right.
me.
Yeah.
You know?
No, same here.
Now, if it's 10 o'clock at night and there's no street lights around, then am I gonna pull over?
Different.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Different.
You know, that was a different time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no cell phones. I mean, she didn't have a choice. The wheel fell off.
Yeah, it was just
like
it was a lot more trusting times back then. I mean, my uncle Walter, anybody hitchhiking, he picked them up. He always pulled over and picked hitchhikers up constantly.
Although, what's more risky at that point? Because now you have no car without the wheel. Now, do you want to walk until you get to a service station, or do you want to get in the car with the guy?
He knew what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's the other. Okay.
And if there's a baby in the back, I'm not walking carrying a baby until I hit a service station.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if some guy says, "Hey, I'll, fix your tire for you," and I got a kid in the back seat,
yeah.
And ends up killing you.
you know?
Well, I think that I totally believe her, honestly. So
Yeah, and there's been some speculation with her. I've read where some people thought she actually made the whole thing up.
that's a very creative story. Well done.
It was in
to
the
make her
letters,
husband. To make her. I guess she didn't get much attention from her husband, is what I read or something. They said maybe she was doing it
But
as
it's
a attention.
Whatever.
But I don't. Yeah, that's very extreme.
That is.
Are you going to set your car on fire because
Oh my God! Yeah, because a trucker pulled up, right?
a trucker pulled up and the Zodiac got in his car. He drove back to where her car was and set it on fire.
What an asshole! I
Yeah.
mean, all around this guy is an asshole.
Well, he was so angry that he
didn't get it.
Didn't
Yeah,
get to kill her.
Yeah. Hey, but it goes back to that whole shock and awe effect,
Right.
which is his MO. It's constant. I mean, even coming out in the big suit, you know what I mean? Shock and awe, everything. That's part of his MO. So.
Okay, and so let me finish this up. Kane had a tendency of living near areas of water, like the location of most Zodiac crimes. We talked about he lived 2.5 blocks from where Paul Stein was picked him up, or this person, the Zodiac. Okay, this one I just learned today. Brian Hartnell, who from Lake Berryessa, heard a recording of Kane's voice. He said it was the closest he's heard, but just couldn't be sure because of the years that had passed.
Yeah, that's
Now,
crazy, huh?
Kane had a very strong New York accent.
Yeah.
There are recordings of him out there. You can find them on YouTube, and very, very strong Eastern.
Is that what you showed me?
Yeah, I did. Very
I didn't
New York accent.
I didn't pick up a New York accent.
Yeah, well, I mean, but for Brian, it wasn't so much the
Being on
accent.
the West Coast?
He said it was the cadence.
Right.
The way he said he was very monotone, kind of had spaces between his words.
Now I did catch. You said a speakeasy accent, which is more.
That was like, well, that was when I was talking to Ken, but like more so, yeah, like he had to sort of like. That
was a good way to put it, though, because I lived in New York for quite a while, and like for me, I was expecting to hear like a New York accent, forget about it, Strong Island, and I wasn't really like that. So yeah,
no, but you could tell it wasn't the over exaggerated.
No, it wasn't.
It was but
subtle.
you could tell he was from New York.
Right. So I thought I had read somewhere where his family like lived in the Bay Area, though, so that's why I was confused. But again, let's type in his name and see how many websites come up.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
70 pages later.
Yeah. Like I said, the height thing on all these suspects. Like, I found one that said Arthur Leigh Allen was 6'5".
Yeah, that's great.
And so
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
don't do any more searching, you put, okay, he was 6'5".
Yeah.
And he's actually, they said, probably 5'11", 6 foot,
Right,
maybe.
yeah.
around there.
Okay, so let's move on. Pam Huckabee, sister of Zodiac victim Darlene Farron, claims Kane followed Darlene in the months before her murder.
Of course he did.
Additionally, possible Zodiac victim Kathleen Johns identified Kane as her abductor. Yeah, we already talked about
Right.
that. In 1969, during the peak of Zodiac's activity, Kane was 45 years old. He stood 5'9" and weighed approximately 160 pounds. He was a stocky guy.
Yep.
I remember when I weighed 160 pounds and I was a beanpole.
I don't
You don't remember me weighing that?
remember when I weighed that.
No. I used to weigh 160. I'm 5'11" though. So, but he is, the pictures of him, he's stocky. He fits it to a T.
Yeah.
And even that sketch that I just showed, his picture next to the sketch,
Yeah.
dead ringer.
But it
looking
goes
to
back
me.
to like, because I saw a picture of me in boot camp the other day, and I was wearing these glasses called BCGs. Do you know what BCG stands for?
No.
birth control glasses. And I had them on. They're like big, but that's like I see every picture. Like it seems like everybody was wearing those. And it kind of like takes over your face, you know.
Yeah.
It's like what you zone in on. So.
Right. All right. So Kane was arrested in Redwood City, California, in August of 1968. The arrest was just 4 months before Zodiac's first San Francisco Bay Area murders of December 20th, 1968. Kane died on May 20th of 2010 in Reno, Nevada. Now, again, he was arrested. What he was arrested for was peeping in people's windows.
Great.
And prowling. Peeping and prowling. As one, yeah, I heard some podcast and they were going, hashtag peeping and prowling. Okay, now these are for against him being a Zodiac. Some people thought he was too old to be a Zodiac, to be the Zodiac.
That's what Kathleen John said, right? That he thought. Oh, I thought he.
Yeah,
was,
she thought he was younger.
Yeah,
and she looked, and they didn't discover Kane till years later. She saw that years later, but that picture was taken around the time that she was abducted. But she was like, "Yeah, it looks, it's him, but it looks young. He looked a lot younger in person." But that doesn't mean anything. I mean, when we look at the picture I showed you of Paul Stein. He looks like he's in his 50s. He was 29 years old.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not denying it. I'm just saying, like, she said
no, I'm just saying how pictures can be deceiving.
Well, and time
we've all seen
pictures.
Yeah, everybody looked like they're in their 50s when they're in their 20s and the 50s and 60s.
Right, yeah.
McCartney joked to George Martin. George Martin showed him this picture. He goes, this was me in the military. And he goes, you look like you're 45 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, though.
It is. Yeah. It is. But okay, so some think he was too old. His mental disability might have, in fact, been too severe for him to become a successful serial murderer. Okay, now here's a big one. Kane's fingerprints did not match the Zodiac's. Reports show that his DNA was not compared to the Zodiac's, and that is probably because his prints didn't match. DNA is expensive, and...
Is it really? How much?
Yeah, and it's a long process, and especially back in the 90s. I mean, it took forever to get a DNA sample back. But if the prints aren't matching, and this is something, Dylan, we talked about, and I did not know this because I didn't think they got any usable fingerprints off the telephone.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But Dylan was saying that they had a print.
I hope I'm not wrong.
A print from the cab.
Who cares if you are?
Yeah, Tom Voigt's going to get you.
No, I actually love it. Continue, please. This got me too.
And speaking of Tom Voigt, he's the man. If you guys really want to get into Zodiac,
absolutely
he's the expert. ZodiacKiller.com. Tom, if you're watching, he did watch a little of our show last week, and I tried to get him on the show, and I got no response.
That's okay.
But I don't blame him. I mean, the guy's on A&E, the History Channel. He's got bigger fish to fry than my little YouTube channel.
He actually hit me up personally. He found my number, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, listen, we already have our show planned out. We have Dylan Sharp coming in.
Yeah. Man,
we got Pam All."
You had me excited because
you did. You looked at me all serious. I was like,
because he would be. All the questions that we're all sitting here wondering, he knows the answers to these.
Yeah.
So so Tom, if you're out there and you change your mind, email me. I sent you my email.
Man. Well,
I could call him. I guess
we'll have a good conversation.
Okay. So anyway, here's the thing: is we didn't finish that. Dylan said there was a print from the cab. It matched from the telephone. Do you know, because the Zodiac made two phone calls, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Do you know which murder? Was it Berryessa or was it the Blue Rock Springs murder?
It was Berryessa, and I'm pretty sure it was Blue Rock Springs, so that's when he mentioned that I killed those kids last year at Lake Kerman, too.
Okay, because I watched a detective talk about the phone. He said, yeah, there wasn't any he said there were prints all over the place, but there was nothing that we found that would have matched. That were usable.
Even Toski said that we most likely have the Zodiac's prints.
Okay, well, Toski's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was telling him is like mathematically, like if there's a print at the phone in Lake Berryessa and then a print at the cab, we're talking about a payphone and a cab.
Yeah.
The chances of that's a lot of prints.
I totally get that. Yeah. I was just, but I've never read that. Dylan brought that to me, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, that's because I always wondered about where the prints on a cab. how many people got in and out of that cab for 2 or 3 weeks?
You're talking
And
San
they're
Francisco.
not taking that thing to the car wash all the time, right?
Yeah.
So who knows what prints are there?
Same with the payphone. Like
I do find it. Well, that means he lied though, because he said the only reason I was wiping the cab down was to throw you guys off. Now he left a pair of gloves in there, so why the airplane glue?
Right.
But then again, if he had the gloves on when you opened the car, why go to the problem of wiping?
He's right.
Why even
down?
taking them off though? Why take them off and risk
Absolutely.
leaving fingerprints?
I think that he's saturating crime scenes. He's like saturating crime scenes.
Well, that's what I think that's what he's. Yeah, I think that's what his plan is to get it so confusing.
Exactly. Yeah. Even the 4 different tires on the car. Like to me, God dang!
That's just a poor thing,
Which
Garrett.
murder was that?
It could be a poor thing,
murder was
or
that
it could
one?
be a genius thing, like
No.
Berryessa, wasn't it? Like Berryessa?
No, but if Lawrence Kane was, and we know he's not going to print, but if he lived in Presidio, that's a wealthy area.
Yeah.
You'd have right. I mean, the tire thing, like you said, it could have been
Well, you see it in
to
every
throw cops off.
in almost every single one of. I mean, the fact that he's sending letters taunting police. It tells us that he knows something, right? Like he's got a leg up somehow. So for me,
He's got incredible confidence.
he's got incredible
in
confidence.
what he's doing.
And he's very well planned out. And so when he goes in, he knows what he's going to do. He's going to confuse the crime scene. I mean, he's going to talk to the cops. He's going to go sit in the park, watch them, have some fun with
Which
it.
could be Lawrence Kane, going back to the fact that he had a hard time being satisfied.
That's
Like,
actually a good
staying-
point.
Like, keep on,
Hey,
like, God, I gotta
so
be more
you're-
risky. Gotta be more risky.
So your argument would be that Lawrence Kane's mental disability is actually, it wouldn't preclude him from being a serial killer, but the other way around, it would actually urge him on to be a serial killer. Like it could be like one of his strengths.
As soon as he gets the sensation to kill someone, he's like, "Oh well, I gotta do it now."
Yeah.
I gotta do
Well,
it
and it's
now.
not enough just to kill him. I got to taunt the police.
Yeah.
I got to leave evidence.
Until he's satisfied.
Right. Yeah.
And well, I mean, and what's the word he always used? The game.
Yep.
The game.
It was
man.
all a game. to
It
him.
was. It was
this
all a
was
game.
the cat and mouse thing.
Right.
A comment from Randy in chat says he may have taken the gloves off to increase the risk in the game.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually really like that. And that's kind of to the point. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see also now, I mean, now we have touch DNA,
Right.
which gloves are good for that because skin follicle or skin comes off, and,
yeah.
and sometimes there's enough skin you can get DNA samples
For the
off of
Cheri,
that.
I forgot to ask this. For the Cheri Jo Bates, did they find any DNA underneath the fingernails of her?
They did, I think.
They
didn't
did, and that reminds me too is God, I think.
She's a feisty little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember because back then they would have probably saved that.
Yeah.
And surely in these times they would have retested that
Right.
DNA.
Yeah.
And but no one's mentioned that. I mean, the DNA they always talk about from the Zodiac is off the stamps,
I know.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
gets into
Yeah.
the whole Don Chaney thing, which we need to talk
We'll
about
get
a little
into
bit
that.
too.
Well, and DNA does degrade over time.
It does.
It
so-
does very much so, and so that's a good point. So, and a lot of people were concerned. They said, this DNA off the stamp's 50 years old.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and one of the detectives that went, and we'll talk about Arthur Leigh Allen. In a second.
will.
Yeah, no, I will a little bit.
A little bit.
But in 1991, whenever they raided his house, the detective actually said like he took some tissues for DNA and sent them over immediately because he knew then that would like be important later. And so,
Wow.
but we're talking about
Really?
1991.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
let's go back to 1968 through 1975.
Yeah.
Okay. Now when they're taking DNA, they have no idea what what I'm saying. Even
Right.
how to store it. We're at the infancy of this technology and the implications of DNA. So even the way they stored it, I'm sure is nothing compared to how we do it now. I mean, I know that to be a fact.
Yeah, just
So-
in a box in a 100-degree
Yeah,
warehouse or
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
mean that's possible. I always wondered what they even back then. I think they always kept semen, but I think you can get a blood sample off of semen, so you could match a blood type. But they didn't know at the time
Right.
that in the future we can use that for a whole DNA profile.
Right. Oh, there's no way they could have thought about it.
No,
I don't
no. But thank God. I mean, with the Golden State Killer, they kept those rape kits.
Yep.
And they got
Yeah.
great DNA
Right,
profile
yeah.
on him. And
I
that's how
mean,
they
we
caught
feel
him.
overwhelmed. Can you imagine being like the cold case detectives on the Zodiac killer? They're like, "Hey, we're gonna assign you to the Zodiac murders." Can you imagine? I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Talk about boxes.
Well,
you think you got a lot of boxes. Can you imagine all the evidence that's involved in this?
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be just absurd. 2,500 suspects?
Yeah, you know,
Get out of here with that.
Tom Voight got to go into, I think it may have been Vallejo. He got to go in the evidence room and actually handle the letters that the Zodiac wrote. The
He
original.
didn't invite us?
No, he did not.
Wow.
Tom,
The
what?
disrespect.
Oh,
The disrespect.
What is it with this guy?
What this guy?
What is it with this
Tom.
guy? Okay, so the number one suspect that Toschi really liked, and Armstrong as well, Bill Armstrong, was Arthur Leigh Allen, and you're going to present that for us.
Yeah, I'm going to present it for you. I didn't write it out, obviously, like you did. So
You didn't type it.
Man, I haven't typed in a long time.
Why? You like writing more than typing?
I do.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Exactly.
I can't even read my own writing. That's why I have to type everything.
Okay, let's go over Arthur Leigh Allen really fast because this is everybody's.
We can't go over Arthur Leigh Allen fast. He's like the number
No,
one.
I know, not real fast, but let's get into it because
Yeah.
he is everybody's number one dude.
He screams Zodiac,
Yeah.
right?
I'm the Zodiac.
Exactly what he said.
And it's almost even like he is playing a game, honestly. Like when you look at all the circumstantial evidence that builds
Yeah.
up.
Talk about his book.
But do you think about? Let me just bring this up before you start. Like for instance, Lawrence Kane, Ross Sullivan. You know, usually people like that, their ego is such that they want people to know I'm the one who
Yeah.
pulled this off.
Right.
Like deathbed confessions.
Right.
You know, if Ross would have been the Zodiac, would he have said, towards the end of his death, hey, I was the Zodiac.
Wait. Wasn't there a piece of evidence that Lawrence Kane had admitted on his deathbed confession that he was not the Zodiac?
I saw that, but I could not prove it. I only saw that like on one website. If I saw it on multiples, then I would have brought that up to everybody. But yeah, and maybe it's true. I don't know. But they said that on Lawrence Kane's deathbed that he said, no, I was not the Zodiac.
I actually believe that we know who the Zodiac is, and it's in the cipher. But we'll get into that here in a second.
Really?
Garrett,
Yes.
Gavin Miller says, "What's up?"
Oh, what's up, dude? I'll see you tomorrow morning. Hey, Gavin, go to bed. It's past your bedtime. Okay, so let's talk about Arthur Leigh Allen really fast.
Hey, first I got to say, Mona, thank you.
God bless.
Okay, hang on. Sorry. Mona says, enough is enough. I'll call Tom myself. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you, Mona.
So Mona must have tell him that we need him on the show. I'd love to do one more show to answer all these questions that we don't know.
Hey, and
Like he's a Zodiac.
Mona, can you put where you're from in the chat, like just generally? Because I said England last episode.
I thought you said she was from the UK, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Arthur Leigh Allen. Do we have a slide for him?
We do.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit that slide.
If I can find it. Right.
That is not Arthur.
Boom.
Okay. So obviously the physical description.
Right off the bat, it doesn't look like the
No,
sketch.
it doesn't. It doesn't. But what did the Zodiac say about his appearance?
I look different when I'm doing my thing than when I'm in my everyday life.
And Dylan, what did you say about in the 60s the technology for wigs?
Oh, no, you cannot find a crew cut wig. You'd have to make it yourself, or like make some makeshift wig of some sort.
Okay, so he had to make it himself. Okay, he doesn't look like it. Okay, now then, in the Lake Berryessa, what was so distinct about his outfit?
The hair was sticking out of the eye hole.
But there was something
It was
else.
brown hair.
But there was something else going on his chest.
Well, he had the Zodiac sign.
But how was it put on? Just slapped on?
No. It was very.
Intricate.
Brian Hartnell said it was very well done.
Very intricate.
It wasn't just scribbled on there.
Okay, so when
I don't know if it was embroidered or he had it printed or he did it himself. Or,
right. So when people look at this picture next to the Zodiac drawing, obviously it does not look the same like the same person. Although the nose in that picture, dude, looks kind of similar.
It looks.
The eyes.
Yeah, the nose.
Yeah,
Looks similar,
right.
Definitely.
And maybe even the bottom lip.
And the heavy set,
Is that a little goatee kind of thing happening?
No, I
there?
think that it's that bottom lip sticking out.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I saw a picture. Remember the sketch on the very last slide, the new sketch that they had made. I saw a picture of. They had edited the picture of Arthur Leigh Allen to have like some fake crew cut hair.
Okay.
And it actually kind of looks similar.
Yeah, because for me,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
It kind of looks similar.
in every other murder where somebody was able to see him, was it during the day or is it at night?
Both, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah. It was both day and night.
Where they saw him?
Where?
Yeah.
Where there's
it was in
Well,
broad
no.
daylight.
Well, not without his.
No, not
get
without,
up.
no. I'm saying
Yeah.
No. It was
physical description.
Mike Mageau saw him in the
At
dark
night.
he said I only saw his profile. He said he had a belly, and he looked to be about 5'8".
The lady that got Kathleen Jupp.
Yeah, she said
was
short
it day or night?
crew. It was night.
Okay.
Crew cut.
Night.
All at night, right?
Pretty
Right.
much.
So would the crew cut wig have to be perfect?
It wouldn't.
Especially in that manner of attack,
But
where it's shock and awe.
What about Paul Stein?
Shock and awe.
That's what it is, man.
It is.
But what about Paul Stein when you're in the cab? I mean, I'm assuming you don't probably
Dude,
pay attention too much. To
No, dude.
your
I mean,
passenger,
he's
but,
probably been in his cab for 8 hours. People coming in and out. He's like dreading having to talk to
he had
somebody.
3 passengers, didn't he?
Oh, do you have 3 passengers? Okay,
No,
regardless, he does it 7 days a week.
No, from what I understand, Arthur. Well, I'm not saying the Zodiac was his second
Hey,
pickup.
put it back on.
Yeah.
Put it back on us really fast.
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna do an impression. I'm gonna do an impression for Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. What's that?
Okay, guy gets in the back of the cab. You've been driving a cab, 1,000 hours this year. He's looking in the rearview mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if those people from across saw that guy, or even the cops, I mean, again, I think it would be really quick. So I don't think that necessarily the physical description of his facial profile eliminates him. Because I think that wig, that crew cut wig, could have been just
If he
makeshift.
had made
Okay,
one,
let me say
If he
that.
could, but he made ciphers that we couldn't even solve for 50 years.
Let me say this.
Okay.
Mike Majo said he did not have a crew cut. He had bushy brown hair.
Underneath the.
No. Mike
Oh, he
Majo
was-
Whoa, got you.
was
okay.
at Blue Rock Springs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when he said he just had wavy hair, is what he said.
Okay, well, let me.
Now
pose
that'd
this
be easy
question.
to find a wavy hair wig.
I was gonna
at
say,
the
let me
time.
pose this question. If you can find a crew cut wig or make one, you can definitely make a wig.
I don't think they would have had. I mean, what do you think, Pam? A crew cut wig? I mean, that.
You would have to be bald.
Yeah.
You would have to pull it over.
Yeah.
That'd be really hard to pull off.
I do
but
too.
even to
But
make
so
it
would
though,
a cipher exactly. But
I think
so
we're
would a-
underestimating how hard it is to make a crew cut wig.
I think that we're underestimating how hard it is to make a cipher that people can't solve for 50 years,
Yeah,
including a
but like-
supercomputer named Carmel. Right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm just,
a lot of good Carmel did, right?
yeah,
That's true.
No, so I'm just trying to make a point that I don't personally think it's Arthur Lee Allen. I don't.
Okay.
But for sake of argument, I'm just trying to say I don't think that we can discount him based solely off of his hair. Okay.
Okay.
Now you can shut this aside.
Okay,
Okay.
you can move on.
Okay. So he lived less than 10 minutes from the Viejo murder scene. Which,
Vallejo?
if you're
Vallejo.
Vallejo, yeah, Viejo is what Spanish,
Vallejo.
Vallejo. And if you're the computer YouTube channel, it would be like Vallejo.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's interesting. He told people that he was going to Lake Berryessa on the day that Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were attacked. And then later changes his story to say that, oh, yeah, I didn't
went
actually make it.
Northern to the coast, and then
Right.
said a couple could
And they-
solidify his alibi, and they never found
And
the couple.
they never found the couple, yeah. Oh, yeah, I met that couple, John and Jane, up in, yeah. Never happened. He seemed to be in the vicinity of other Zodiac crimes at the time in which they occurred. Okay, so odd. Okay, he just happened to be there. There's tons of circumstantial evidence. You got the Zodiac watch that he wore that his mother gave him, which I find
with the symbol.
with the symbol, which I find interesting that when Cheri Jo Bates was murdered, there was a watch left, and that he just signed it Z, and then he was gifted a watch that's called Zodiac, and he took the Z in the watch and said, "Hey, there you go."
Yeah.
So I
There's
just
your
find it
name.
interesting that there was a watch left at the other crime scene, and then that's kind of what people cling on to with Arthur Lee Allen.
Right.
Or Arthur.
Well,
I'm just going to call him Arthur.
Lee.
Oh,
Call me
you're-
Lee.
I'm going to make him mad.
nobody calls me Arthur.
Just my mother. Who he didn't get along with his parents.
Yeah, he hated both his mom and
Yeah,
dad.
he hated him, man.
Well,
like
and
he
also-
didn't live up to his dad's standards.
Also, bring up the size 10.5 wing walker.
I'm getting there. Yeah, so he had the Wing Walker military boots, size 10.5, which again,
They
you
found
know,
the
that's
print of Berryessa.
pretty dang specific. And supposedly he admits to Don Chaney, I'm doing quotations, who says, I just put that, I love this. He admits to Don Chaney,
Quit laughing.
who gained, yeah, I will not laugh the fact that
No-
Don Chaney
No having fun.
licked his stamps.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Couldn't stain the glue.
You couldn't,
stand
yeah,
the
he couldn't
taste of glue.
taste the glue.
Gross.
Dude, what a buddy. I'm like, hey,
What a
hey,
pal.
I'm like, hey,
What an
Larry,
absolute friend.
I can't stand the taste of this glue. Can you lick my stamps for me, please? It's so stupid. So there's a ton of circumstantial evidence, and then it goes back to the Darlene Ferrin connection.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, Darlene knew like every one of these suspects or something. It's
Yeah.
weird. He lived, I think, like 1/10 of a mile from IHOP,
Right.
which is also known as International House of Pancakes for Dylan.
For Dylan.
Yeah.
And so he was frequently there, and she even said that she had a customer coming in, and she called him Lee,
Yeah.
and I think spelled it how because he often
L-E, right?
yeah, and he often like he would misspell his middle name, he would just
Well, is spelled Leigh.
pinch
Yeah.
poke, kill me a coke.
But if someone said
Cheeks.
call me Lee, you're thinking Lee.
Yeah, definitely. So there's somewhat of a connection there, and then he was also said to have been at the paint party.
Yeah.
Which this must have been
Darlene Ferrin's paint party.
right. Darlene Ferrin's paint party, which we will get in with my next suspect, Gaikowski, as well.
Which is funny from the 2007 Zodiac movie, and Gray Smith's reporting. Well, he went to a paint party, and Toski goes, "That sounds horrible.
Yeah,
That sounds like a horrible party. I don't want to paint anybody's
well,
house."
I mean, if yeah,
Wait, is that what it was?
yeah.
You're painting some. That's
see,
a paint
I
party.
didn't think that.
What you do is you buy pizza, you get beer, and you get all your buddies over, your friends, and you help,
That's
and
a
they help
I
paint
thought
the
it was
house.
like artsy,
Me
kind of like
too,
paint
man. I thought they were like
it's a fun
hippies, like, oh, let's
time.
paint some
Exactly.
pictures,
I thought it was
bro.
like a hippie thing.
Maybe- Wine and canvas.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was.
But I like your idea.
I think it
That's
was
a
the
great way to get your house painted.
That's a great way to get your house painted. That's why Toski
Okay, I get you.
says sounds like a horrible party.
I got you. Okay. And so, but I just find it interesting that we're going to be able to put Arthur Lee at the paint party somehow through hearsay, I think, and also Richard Gaikowski.
Everything's hearsay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Arthur Lee Allen was also ambidextrous, which a lot of people believe that the Zodiac was ambidextrous.
Yep.
Mike Mageau picks him out of a lineup as the man that shot him within 20 seconds of looking at that lineup. And what they did was they just took license pictures of people's driver's license, put them in there, and Mike Mageau within 20 seconds, boom, says that's him. That's the guy that shot me. Points to Arthur Lee Allen.
Right.
Okay, 1991 search. Police take things from Arthur's basement.
Yep.
Ooh.
Which is interesting because in one of the letters he mentions that he's going to hide a bomb in a basement, or he has.
He's gonna make a bomb.
He's going to
And
make a
it
bomb
was
in his basement. Right.
Yeah.
Which here in Oklahoma is like pretty like common, right?
Yeah.
Like
No,
because
yeah.
Tornado Alley and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But out there, like in Viejo, they
Vallejo.
I don't think they had as many. It wasn't like a common thing,
I
right?
don't think it was it?
You don't want to be in your basement during an earthquake. Now, a tornado, yeah, that's fine. So in 1991, they took things out of his house, which included pipe bombs and ingredients for a fuel bomb.
Wow.
It was what was it? Nitro enema? I can't remember.
Ammonium nitrate.
Ammonium
Yeah.
nitrate,
Basically,
right,
since we're from Oklahoma, we live here, and we remember the
Timothy
1995
McVeigh, yeah.
Timothy McVeigh bomb, and
Yeah.
that was made from fertilizer,
Ammonium nitrate, yeah.
ammonium nitrate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except it was that fertilizer and the
Gravel.
charcoal. Yeah, gravel.
Gravel,
I was gonna say
right.
gravel. You're right.
Right, which would have probably been used as projectile
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
maximize, but also
It'd be like
used to-
shrapnel,
but
except
also
it'd be.
but also to conceal it like a roadside bomb, like an IED would be.
Yeah.
Like just so there's probably somewhere there. So they take that out, and they also take out a typewriter, the same type of typewriter that was used to send that first letter with Cheri Jo Bates.
Did they actually match that? I mean,
Yes.
Well, it was-
yes,
yes,
it was.
they did, yeah.
Because the font on it
Yeah.
was the same as because it was either two typewriters. It was this one or Royal Elite
Yes,
font, something like that.
yeah. It was the same
and
one.
some have certain distinctions. What I mean by that, like where say the T had a little nick in it,
Right.
And that's a
Yeah, or a
that's a
little curve,
little
right.
mark you can find.
Right.
Did it have something like that?
So I don't know. I'm just talking generally. We got something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Anywho, and so they take the typewriter out. It matches the same kind of typewriter that the letter for Cheri Jo Bates was written in. So that's actually quite interesting. One question I had about that, and again, this is a lot of circumstantial evidence here, is if you were accused of being the Zodiac killer for that many years, first off, you wouldn't have pipe bombs in your basement.
That's very risky.
That's
Yeah.
just risky in general.
Yeah.
But also knowing that because you had, okay, say that you're Kane or Sullivan or Arthur Lee or Gaikowski or Ted Kaczynski, for God's sake. Hang on, we're doing sign language.
No,
okay,
go ahead.
yeah. You would do one of two things. You would either become like, you would probably have memorabilia,
Yeah.
right? You're looped in. I could see that happening, or you're the actual killer. So I think it's interesting. So I could see there being a moment where he knows the kind of typewriter, he comes across it, and again, I know Tom Hanks is a huge typewriter fan, and he's also a fan of our show. He subscribed. So Tom, if
Yeah.
you're in the chat, if you can let us know about that typewriter information, that'd be great. Oddly enough, Lee dies of a heart attack in 1992. Drops dead. Drops dead of a heart attack. And so that's when the detectives rushed over there. He's actually on the phone with one of the street cops. He's like, "Hey, I'm lying here, and your suspect's lying on the ground." And he's like being sarcastic. He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like,
right.
He just died of a heart attack. And so he rushes over there, gets the tissue, sends it. They come back and say, "Hey, that DNA," and this is from Tom Voight. Okay, "Hey, that DNA matched," and they're like elated, like, "Yes, we got him." And then like 2 minutes later, they came back and were like,
Now, is that from Dave Toski or Tom Voight?
This is from one of Tom Voight's videos.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
that I was watching. Yeah.
But it came back 2 minutes later and it was
thought
wrong.
you got
Is that
Yeah,
what you're
well,
gonna
the detective says like 2 minutes. I bet it was, but they were making the point that like for a second they like were all elated. They thought they had actually solved the case, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, it doesn't match." So that's going to be part of my cons when it comes to Arthur Lee. Is that you know, okay, he dies of a heart attack. Now let's talk about what disqualifies him.
Okay.
They also took a knife in 1991 that was a foot long, and it was actually had a holster with the barrettes in it, like
Lake Berryessa.
Lake Berryessa.
Oh, like a bayonet?
But they-
Was it
It's
a bayonet?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, get
With crevets.
a foot-long knife.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Foot long meatball sub sounds more like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what disqualifies him is Arthur Leon's his DNA doesn't match, his handprint doesn't match,
Right.
his fingerprint doesn't match,
Handwriting.
his handwriting doesn't match, and his physical description, for the most part, unless you take into account what we talked about earlier, absolutely doesn't match.
Yeah, and he screams, like
And
I
he
said.
screams, but he also screams, "I'm not the Zodiac!" Like,
Yeah, on those interviews, he's like,
yeah.
I'm not the Zodiac.
He's like, "Guys, you're wasting your time. Like, I'm really not."
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of circumstances. It's also a lot of, coincidences. It's also a lot of circumstantial evidence. So,
Do we want to bring up the Brian Hartnell thing about Arthur Lee Allen?
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
The fact that apparently, and now this is one of those things where it's hearsay.
I know. Yeah, I read it too.
That Brian Hartnell had gone into the hardware store where Arthur Lee Allen had worked, and I guess bought something from him and said that he fit the description and sounded like the guy who killed his girlfriend and stabbed him and wounded him.
Yep, law enforcement sent him in, right?
Yep.
What's that? No, I didn't hear that part.
What? Which part?
The last thing you just said.
Oh, that he said Arthur Lee Allen matched the physical description and sounded like the voice that he had heard that day.
Right.
Now that's one of the things where it's like hearsay. You're not entirely sure.
What I feel like I was telling your dad on the way.
Did they find a wig in his basement by any chance?
I don't know. They didn't. Those are sealed.
Huh?
I think that those documents are still sealed.
Wow.
Are they?
Now, was that the first? Okay, when they finally got the search warrant, which took them forever. Did you see what year that was?
1991.
God, it took that
20
long.
years.
So he would have got rid of. I mean,
Yeah.
he knows he's being looked at as the Zodiac,
Right.
and he would have got rid of everything.
So-
and that's one thing Dave Toski was upset about. He tried to get a warrant
Earlier.
years
They
ago.
did into his trailer at the time, but they weren't able to really find anything.
Yeah, but he wanted it earlier because then there were reports that somebody saw Leigh Allen cleaning out the trailer and dumping everything.
Yeah.
Now again, that doesn't mean anything. It just means he could have been cleaning his trailer, spring cleaning or something. But but it could be he was throwing out evidence. I don't know.
Very possible.
Yeah,
Very
Very
possible.
possible.
100%.
100%.
And 100%.
100%.
And frustrating for Toski.
yeah.
But I don't think it is Arthur Lee Allen. And like I said earlier, I've been studying this guy. I'm 35 since I was 5. So 20 years of experience running this case.
Right.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else to add to Arthur Lee? I mean, because he is like a huge suspect, obviously. Like I was telling Dylan. Oh, I had one more thing. When I was calling you, I called you on the way over here.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me too. Like that new information that we got. We talked a lot about it, about how they send Mike Mageau into the hardware store to like get something from him, right? And Mike Mageau says, "Yeah, that's his voice."
No.
Brian Hartnell.
Brian Hartnell.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's his voice."
Did that really happen?
Well,
That's the thing.
That's
I
what I
was
was
gonna
telling
say
you, dude.
hearsay.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you. Is like that would be something that's like pretty credible. Like that would have showed up in the Tom Voight documentary. That would have showed up in some news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
not real sure that ever happened. I mean,
That's what makes this
could,
case.
if Arthur Lee Allen was the killer, can you imagine the expression on his face when Brian Hartnell walks through the door?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
He would be going, "Holy."
Well, and the physical reaction of Brian Hartnell, right, to see his killer and to like, they probably had some undercover detectives or something around, but still, you would have a heart attack.
Yeah, and to me, it bugs me that the officer at Lake Berryessa, before Cecilia passed away, he was asking all these questions.
Right.
He said, "Did you see the killer before he put the mask on?" "Yes, I saw it." "What color hair?" "Had brown hair." All these descriptions, and this officer did not put that in the report.
Times have changed, though.
Yeah, but still,
I
I mean,
know,
you've got a murder at a lake, and the description of the subject you don't put in the report.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Policing has
That's
changed.
insane. Yeah, but I mean, that's bad.
You think he was just
Policing.
freaking out, though? Oh, that's definitely bad policing. I mean, because this kind of thing didn't happen very often.
Yeah.
It's not every
Got a
day.
s- Got a statement in chat from Italian in
I
Laguna.
love that.
The irony of Mike Mageau was asked about Arthur Lee Allen at Ontario Airport near Riverside,
Right.
only about 10 minutes from where Cheri Jo Bates' murder scene was.
That's where he lived? Is that what you're saying?
Now that's where I guess he was
He,
questioned.
Is that where? Yeah,
Oh, got it,
he
got
met.
it.
Mike Mageau was
Yeah, Mike
asked
Mageau
about-
was. He was basically what she's talking about is. Mike Mageau disappeared after that happened, and they couldn't find him for years. They did find him, and they had him to meet them at the airport, and that's when they laid out a bunch of suspects and said, "Do you see your attacker here?" And he pointed to Arthur Lee Allen. But yeah,
Right.
yep, that's very good. Thank you, Italian. Do I call you Laguna or Italian?
Man, that sounds like a great. That sounds like a great restaurant.
Italian
That
Laguna.
really does. That really
Dude,
sounds
I
good.
would kill some chicken Alfredo from there.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
I
to
shouldn't
Italian
say I'd kill anything in this episode.
No, you know what you're going to
No
get
laughing.
now. I
No
can't-
laughing.
That's that's not politically correct.
Now,
Are they farm raised chickens in that fettuccine?
Arthur Lee is the one that we're saying had to have a crew cut wig, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he
Right,
was
yeah.
bald,
Yeah.
Okay,
balding.
so this picture that I'm seeing here
Is
is
today? I don't think it is. I think that we found an earlier picture though, didn't we, where he actually had hair? Did we not?
That
Yeah, he had more hair than that, but I think even in the late '60s he was starting to bald. He had a receding hairline.
I heard it was even earlier than that though, like early
Yeah.
'60s during like the Cheri Jo Bates and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he
was
just
balding.
does. I mean, like I said, he has so many things pointing against him, but he really doesn't look like that sketch. I mean, like you said, the
No, he
nose and the
doesn't.
bottom lip.
eyes are too close together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, and just to add really fast about Arthur Lee Allen, is he did spell Christmas, Christmas, but that's
Christmas.
yeah, Christmas, but that's common. I actually was I was in my garage the other day at my parents' house, and I noticed that the box for Christmas at my dad's house said Christ Mass.
So your dad's a Zodiac.
I was like,
It's true. It's confirmed.
I said,
we
Dad,
solved it.
yeah, I said I know you were 8 at the time, but no, but it is like you do see that a lot, and so
Yeah. Stop laughing.
well, no more laughing.
Quit laughing. It's not funny.
And I just wanted to add this in. This character that comes in one of Voight's shows is the Spinelli. Have you seen that guy?
Oh,
The
from
guy
Fast Times,
is-
Spicoli?
No,
just
no,
a
no.
second.
Spinelli. He's like this. He's like a kind of like a career criminal. Like owned
Oh, I
a
know what you're
nightclub.
talking about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claims that Arthur came up to him and wanted to work for him.
Yeah, he was a 2-bit criminal, though.
Yeah, like a little 2-bit criminal. But
So why would you? I know you're a 2-bit criminal, but why would you lie about that though?
to get attention.
Right.
What for?
I mean,
Street cred.
even when the detective
I had
talked
the
to
Zodiac come up to me and want to murder from me. I
Yeah.
turned him down. Forget about it.
yeah, even the detective said he wasn't credible. He was a criminal his whole life. He goes, I don't trust the guy.
Right.
And it almost starts getting onto the Don Chaney stuff, which we need to talk about
We're
at some
going
point.
to. No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm about to get into it. So the thing with the Spinelli is he claims that Arthur comes to him and says, "Hey, I want to work for your security detail." Spinelli's like, "Get out of here," and he's like, "No, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to go kill a cabbie in San Francisco." And
That's after he confesses that he's the Zodiac.
Right. Yeah, he says, "I'm the Zodiac. I'm going to go kill somebody in San Francisco, a cabbie, and I'm gonna take something and prove it to you."
What a horrible way to have to get a job.
Oh my God!
Wait,
Like,
he's
yeah.
a psychopath. He doesn't care. I'll kill
Yeah.
him. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely didn't happen though, because if you're gonna go through all that trouble to write ciphers and do everything, I'm not gonna go to Spinelli down at the club and be like, "Hey, I'm the Zodiac," you
Yeah.
know, like. So that's all hearsay. And also he was super into the Most Dangerous Game, right? And that's a book about some rich dude that's going off and murdering folks. He says it, and he claims that Arthur, who was an avid huntsman, like.
I'm not breathing.
I can hear.
I'm not. I'm literally. I haven't
Okay,
breathed
who's
for the past
breathing heavy? All
10
here is.
seconds.
Who's the mouth breather?
I haven't
No.
been breathing for the past 10 seconds. I heard it too. I stopped breathing for 10 seconds to see if it would go away. And
I
it's
know,
not
I-
me.
I-
I look over there and Dylan just passed out from trying not to breathe. He was a big fan of the Most Dangerous Game. He was an avid outdoorsman.
The Mikado.
And so, and obviously, for those who don't know, the Most Dangerous Game is about a guy who likes to hunt humans, right? And supposedly, Arthur Leigh Allen claimed that it'd be way more fun to hunt humans because they're more intelligent and it'd be a tougher
And
game.
it was his favorite book too, right?
There was
Yeah.
it was what's the yeah.
Or
Yeah.
was it movie or whatever?
I believe that was a book. Yeah.
Wasn't it a book at first?
It was a book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then it gets all into this Don Chaney thing where, hey, you can click off that if you want. Just so
Okay.
you can, it gets into this whole Don Chaney thing where, Don Chaney's saying, yeah, he asked me for a fingerprint. So I gave him a fingerprint. Okay. Awesome friend again. He asked me to lick his stamps. So licking his stamps, putting them on. Okay. Another, crazy one. And then he says, you know what? I want to go murder couples. I want to murder couples. And you know what? I think I'm going to call myself the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
And so all these things to me, like, yeah, Arthur Lee Allen, it does scream, I'm the Zodiac, but also it has these other players that are in place
It's very
that are
too
pushing that
perfect.
conspiracy. It is. But the one thing is, why did he have the damn bombs in his basement in 1991?
Yeah, that's
Especially-
strange.
That's weird. Like, and so it goes back to my point earlier, though, that the only reason he would have the bombs and the typewriter is because he had become so involved in this, and he really wasn't the Zodiac, that he's like, well, let me see if I can make the bombs, or let me see, no one, it's 20 years down the line, it's 1991, they're not going to come into my basement now,
Yeah.
I have the
Until you
typewriter.
die.
He almost becomes like a super fan, like you are with the Beatles, like he's like a super fan of it, where he's like collecting this stuff, and it just. So that's the only way I can wrap my head around him.
Did they
like,
find anything like? Did he collect newspaper clippings of the killings or anything
I
like
didn't
that?
get that into the weeds with it. I'm sure somebody can answer that. I'm sure it's out there now.
Which again still doesn't make you guilty.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not
I mean, it's weird, but
no. But not if you. I mean, dude, imagine not being. Yeah, like we're looking around at all
The
your Beatles
JFK
stuff.
newspaper.
Oh, the JFK.
Oh,
newspaper.
yeah.
No, but I mean, imagine being Arthur Lee Allen. Don't imagine being Arthur Lee Allen because he was also a creep. But imagine being in this horrible series of a serial killer circumstance, and they're pinning you on it, and you know for a fact that like it's not me. Like that could mess with your brain over
So-
because even until the point of his death, he's like, guys, I'm like not the Zodiac Killer.
yeah, he claimed it ruined his life.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
It
So then-
would.
That he went
so
through.
Then why would you try to well, might as well see if I can make the pipe bombs. Like it just seems
No,
so
I
weird.
get it, but it would mess with your mind. I mean, can you imagine? It's almost like being in prison for 20 years. I mean, never being able to go out, never being able to talk to people that don't associate you with the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
So I could see where that would make you go kind of mental. in a way.
I wonder how public that was that he, in that area, in the Bay Area, did everybody know that Toschi was looking at him as a
I'm
Zodiac,
sure.
or was that kept under wraps until
know.
later?
I mean, maybe Italian Laguna can kind of, because he was from that area during that time.
Yeah, I wonder if that's if he was well known in the
Yeah.
area for that. Hey, that's a Zodiac.
Well, he
Yeah.
was well known for getting fired from his job as a teacher.
Yeah, he was a pedophile.
He was a pedophile, which doesn't match the MO though of the Zodiac but Zodiac was they were adults. He never sexually assaulted anybody, right?
No,
And
his thing was
he's
killing. And it was almost, looking at it from like a psychological way, it's almost like, I can't find a girlfriend, so you're gonna pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It was lovers.
Right.
It was people parked and had relationships. Something that he couldn't have, something he couldn't establish. So he's gonna make those people pay.
Right. Yeah, definitely. The last thing I have on Arthur Lee is the fact that with Cheri Jo Bates, they say that he was down in the Riverside area, and that there was a struggle because they found DNA underneath her fingernails and everything like that, and she was a fighter. And he only took 1 day off of work that year from the school. Guess when? The Monday after the murder. It was a long weekend. So some people are claiming that he did that because he was trying to recover.
So are you saying he was in the Riverside area at the time of Cheri Jo?
Supposedly, dude. I mean, everything you read online, like about this.
Do we have a connection between him and Ross Sullivan? Maybe.
Oh, that's a good. Hey,
Is maybe there's two Zodiacs? One's writing letters, one's doing the killings.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on board with that too. Like, I almost feel like he actually didn't commit that murder, but I feel like the Zodiac maybe saw that letter come out and was like, "Hey, take it on." But we'll get into that.
Yeah, Pam, what are you wanting to say?
Chat room has thrown out copycat. We've thrown out tag team.
Yep.
And Mona just made a really interesting statement. I think that her
Thanks,
theory,
Mona.
and she's sticking to it, is there was no Zodiac killer. There were murders that were mostly disconnected, and some troll decided to play with the media and derail law
The
enforcement.
first troll of all time.
Is this a Zodiac hoax? I've heard of this.
Yeah, called the
Dude,
Zodiac
that's
hoax,
actually,
where
yeah.
basically some guy's taking credit for all the murders. But
Yeah.
you got Paul Stein's bloody shirt that's sent in. How do you explain that?
Here's what it is. It's the fact that I've read up a little bit on it, and it's the whole theory is that Ross Sullivan killed Cheri Jo Bates. I'm pretty sure they said Arthur Leigh Allen killed Darlene Ferrin. What's the other two murders? Betty Lou Jensen and what's his name?
David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, and Darlene Ferrin and Michael Majot.
Yeah, and then they say that Lawrence Kane killed the Lake Berryessa, and then Paul Stein was Gaikowski. And he said that all this is written by a guy named Hal Snook. He was an officer on the Zodiac, which means he could get, I don't know, somehow maybe got to the crime scene, ripped off the piece of the shirt.
Was he the police officer in Vallejo?
He might have been.
Because I thought there was a cop in Vallejo
His name's Hal Snook.
who thought the whole thing is called the Zodiac hoax.
Yeah.
I think it was a Vallejo cop, but I'm not sure. I could again.
Dude, we are one for the facts, so if you're going to say something,
Yeah,
it better be nice. And no laughing.
No laughing.
None.
All right, so about Richard Gaikowski. Please tell me you did that.
Richard who?
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
kidding. No, hey, this guy over here, though, he got me really thinking about Richard Gaikowski.
Yeah, he's a good suspect. He's in the Bay Area, lives close by the Stein. He looks like the sketch.
Well, let me find my notes.
Especially the new one.
I told you we got to turn that fan off while I'm trying to
I know the
do a
fans.
show here.
Is that what we're hearing?
No, I was hearing.
There's no way it was.
This is Zodiac.
No
This is a
way.
paranormal show. This is
I'm
Zodiac
you-
breathing in the background.
I'm evil.
It's true.
No, don't start that.
Burn the sage. Okay, so Richard Gaikowski. He seemed obsessed with Darlene Ferrin. It is said that he had moved whenever she moved to a similar area. So she had moved for a period of time. He also moved, and then when she moved back, he moved back, which is odd.
So now we've got, how many people do we have linked to Darlene?
Well, no. Here's
Two.
the crazy thing is he was also at the paint party. Keith, every serial killer in Riverside is coming over for the friggin' paint party.
So we have Arthur Lee Allen there.
Yeah.
We have Richard Gaikowski there.
Yes, Richard Gaikowski's just painting a wall.
Multiple witnesses pointed him out,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
I'm pretty sure they
yeah,
were like,
they
yeah,
did.
that was Gaik.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Graysmith in his book said that one of the detectives were there, and the cop said, "I was never at that paint party."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is maybe one of those cases where like there was a paint party, and because it was
Do you
a
think
lot
it's
of
getting
moving parts-
exaggerated?
Well, I'm saying it's easy. There's a lot of moving parts. It's like, oh yeah, I think that guy was there. You know, you're looking at these pictures where
The
everybody looks alike.
average 69 person in the 60s.
yeah,
guy with the
exactly.
Now I gotta
glasses.
say too, when I look at this mugshot of Gaikowski, what I think, and I know it's just a gut thing, he looks like the Zodiac.
He looks like the Zodiac, man, and even the brown curly hair,
Yep.
right? The glasses,
The wavy hair.
the nose, the chin. Yeah. So, and it kind of, well, we'll get into it in a little bit. Okay. The 911 operator, Nancy Slover, from I think that was Lake Berryessa, wherever he left the phone off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Years later. Okay. Hang on, guys. We have a little.
No, go. Don't let me.
No,
go ahead.
No, I like to look at you. I talk.
Yeah.
The 911 operator, Nancy Slover, said that when she heard Geik's voice, that was definitely him on the other line of the phone
Yep.
at the Lake Berryessa, where
Right.
whenever he said goodbye.
No, not like Berryessa, the other one.
Come on, you
Blue Rock
guys.
Blue Rock Springs.
Oh, was it Blue?
Where do you
Yes,
say,
it
give
was
these kids
Blue
2
Rock
years?
Oh, is
Springs.
that where he
He says
said?
goodbye.
Okay, got you.
Right.
Okay.
That's when he called and he said goodbye.
Yeah, and-
Goodbye.
And she actually said gut feeling, which is what you just said, so that's
Yeah.
interesting. But she said gut feeling, and you would think that after 25 years, you'd be like, no, you wouldn't recognize that voice, but you would recognize that voice. If that happened to you, you would definitely recognize that voice.
Yeah.
I think. He worked for Good Times, which was an office one door away from Paul Stein.
Your switchboard office.
I
yeah.
love J.J.
Yeah.
Walker in that. Good time.
So I mean, he was in the vicinity of Paul Stein whenever he was murdered because he was familiar with the area, obviously.
Yeah.
Which going back to that murder, having the knowledge to know where to go, how to sit in the park for how long, it's like almost like you would have had to be there. You would have had to know the location in the area. Geik was also placed at the funeral of Paul Stein.
What?
Yeah, first by eyewitnesses, but then by his own family that saw pictures.
By Paul Stein's family.
By
yeah.
Paul Stein's family
Yeah,
that
so-
saw pictures.
Yeah,
So
well,
Paul's-
they supposedly were friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, like well, they at least knew each other.
Yeah,
considering the
they're
fact that they were
from the
one
area.
door apart
Yeah.
away
That'd be interesting if they had pictures of that funeral and have a picture of him in that.
in the background.
Yeah, in the background somewhere.
Yeah.
You want to know one of the weirdest connections to Darlene Ferrin that we've talked about, though?
No.
Is that...
No, he said no. He doesn't want to know.
No, I ain't going to tell him. Geik.
I do,
Geik. I'm going to call him Geik, and I'm going
Okay.
to call him that for a reason.
because he had that nickname.
Geik. Well, for another reason, too.
I know.
But Geik... Can I speak, please? Geik worked in the same building as Darlene Ferrin's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Not in California.
In New York.
Not in Nevada. No. Not in Oregon or Washington. All the way across the country in New York.
Yeah.
Darlene Ferrin's like the center,
I'm like,
the
what
center
in the
of
world?
this thing.
Yeah, we're not talking about like I worked with your husband down the street. We're saying across
Right,
the
right.
country. So another connection to Darlene Ferrin.
That was when they moved.
right.
That was when they moved to New York, then back to
And-
San Francisco.
So not only does he move at the same time, but then he somehow gets a job in the same building as her husband. Odd, right?
That's weird.
Super weird. He worked at it's reported that Good Times reporters were encouraged to misspell words, as this was a counterculture, pro-violence, anti-police publication.
Yeah, it was kind of an what's that word I meant to go?
Avant-garde.
Thank you.
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
that word?
It's kind of a hippie
Yeah,
kind of,
like
you know,
Yeah.
it's against society kind of thing.
Yeah, like we're gonna misspell words because you know
can't,
what?
'Cause
you
it's-
can,
Yeah,
man.
stick it to
it's-
the man. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's cool, man.
Yeah, only those
Ian?
followers
Yeah.
speak the English language, which is interesting though because often, and I still am true to my thought that the Zodiac killer was not. You said he was dyslexic, maybe, possibly,
Possibly.
and I feel like that the Zodiac killer was actually the exact opposite. Knew a lot about what he was doing and how to spell the words, and did it on purpose. So it would make sense for somebody that worked at a publication that oftentimes misspelled words to stick it to the man and to be anti-police. That also kind of threw me for a loop because Zodiac killer obviously had a disdain for police officers.
Yeah, like blue meanies. What was
Yeah,
it,
the pigs, right?
Yeah, and also, you know what the Blue Meanies is? That's from Yellow Submarine, the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. The Blue Meanies.
You would know that.
Of course I would.
The Good Times reporters, Wednesdays were like their Super Bowl every week. They would show up first thing in the morning. They would write all day until their deadline at night. And they would stay in the office and they would push out their articles because by Thursday, all their stuff needed to be done. So their deadline was at night. Why that's interesting is because out of all the Zodiac letters, the only day of the week that they didn't receive one was on a Wednesday. So or one that was like postmarked. It was never postmarked on a Wednesday. Every other day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but not on a Wednesday. Why? Because Gaik was trying to hit his deadline for Good Times. Yeah, the Good Times. So that's the day. It's like me on Sundays. Like when I'm working constantly, you can't ever get a hold of me. It's because it's the same thing with him. On Wednesdays, he's not working. He's doing his day job, right?
Right.
So I that kind of stood out to me. I was like, man, that's kind of like an interesting little abstract fact
Definitely
there.
is, yeah.
Gaik was an army medic, and so some people have pointed to the cloth that he took off of the Paul Stein murder,
Right.
because army medics are taught to tear cloth to make tourniquets.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stand to me. I mean,
it's definitely something to point out, though.
it is
for
something.
sure.
It is something to point out. But for me, he definitely used scissors. Like he didn't, he's not gonna like rip this. I mean, he was obviously in a hurry. And when you're trying to do a tourniquet, you're like pulling like you want to make like a rope out of it. So
Right.
but that does.
And we know Zodiac was known to have very sharp knives with him. So
right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
but
I doubt it was scissors. I bet he just pulled out his
Right.
knife and just.
zip, zip, yeah.
Because if you look at the Paul Stein shirt, there's some jagged edges.
Right.
Because me and Dylan talked about this. I thought, you wouldn't take the time to rip that. You'd have scissors or something.
Right.
And so Dylan and I looked up a picture of the shirt, and it's cut pretty clean, but at the top there's some jagged edges.
So a knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's important that he was in the Army is not because he was a medic and used a tourniquet, but that he could have had some wing walkers.
True.
So there you go. And also some of the tactics that were used, people have talked about the link to Zodiac in the military, as far as even code breaking and
Yeah.
even just isolating your enemies and trying to shock and awe, 100%. He somewhat fits the physical description, as we can tell in this picture right here.
He just looks like a Zodiac killer,
He
doesn't
does
he?
look like a Zodiac killer.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm gonna read a movie review really fast, if you don't mind. Let me pull out my phone because I have it saved here. I found this, and again, this is man. I swear, if I get one more meme, do you get a lot of memes? Is that
No.
what they're called?
No.
What is it? Okay, hang on, because I sent this to myself. Okay, this is very interesting, man, and it's kind of just a little bit disturbing.
Grandparents say they're sending me the memes.
They're sending me the memes. Okay, and this is by Tom Voigt, and the title of this is "Gaikowski was such a nice guy," and it is dated Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. And Tom went ahead and published this at 10:31 p.m. He was up late working.
He was.
And it's from the Good Times, January 1st, 1972 issue. It's a review of Clockwork Orange.
That's a bizarre movie.
It's super bizarre. Byline by Dick Gaik,
Okay.
which is Richard. Okay.
Right.
And in quotations, a man can get his rocks off just as easy by hitting someone over the head with a club as by assaulting a woman. I'm not going to use the word because I don't like it. Preferably doing both in the same counter. So this is his review of Clockwork Orange in Good Times.
Okay. Let's go back for just kind of stop you for a second.
Yes, absolutely.
I need to catch up. Or caught up.
I'm not rereading that.
No,
It's
we're not
disturbing.
rereading that. Okay. So getting your rocks off, does that ring a bell to you? Yes. I like killing people. It's funner than getting your rocks off with a girl. Remember the first letter?
Oh, yeah.
The first cipher.
Right.
It said getting your rocks off. Now, I don't know back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So he used that. I don't know if I don't know if back in the 60s that was a common, everybody said, hey, man, getting your rocks off or something. And that's possible. But it's kind of a little coincidence.
To put it into writing is different than just saying
Well,
it.
and then
I mean, let's just be honest. Like we say a lot of things that I wouldn't put in writing.
Okay, go ahead.
This this asshole published it.
Let me see.
Hang on a second.
What are you showing him?
No, I know. I want to see the movie review he wrote.
Just
I'll
go.
show you-
Okay, start over, Garrett.
I'm sorry.
No more bathroom
Dude,
breaks for you.
no more 14-year-olds in the
You got to
studio.
get you a urinal.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so this was a review of Clockwork Orange, okay, which you've probably never seen. A man gets his rocks off just as easily by hitting someone over the head with a club as by assaulting a woman, preferably doing both in the same encounter. And further into the review, he said, I left this movie with this heavy, nihilistic feeling that anything, absolutely anything, which would bring the downfall of society is good. From the viewpoint of assault, robbery, and murder, which contribute to the collapse of this rotten civilization, is a good and revolutionary act.
That's very weird.
Yeah,
It's very Zodiac.
Very gross.
It's honest. It's gross, but it's.
but I will.
ter-
I will say this: it's pretty much a true representation of that movie. The
it is.
the guys got off on just beating people for the fun of it.
Right.
But it is interesting, especially getting your rocks off that
Yeah.
part.
Right.
Like in the
well, and
cipher.
even like the downfall of like society and causing chaos. Because ultimately, if we look at this from a bird's eye view, it seems like that's what Zodiac or the Zodiacs were trying to accomplish, is to create chaos within a community and across the country.
Yeah, fear.
Fear.
Now, do you think the Zodiac was more about the murder or the amount
Act.
of publicity he got
Oh.
from it?
Or both.
I think it would have had to been both.
Because you can't get the publicity without the murder.
Right.
Or it's probably what do you think is risk
And-
too?
Well, yeah.
All three?
It's just I think it's a control thing too. Just having the control over someone's emotions, I can cause you to be fearful. And I got total control of you.
You want to click off that?
Yep.
I'm done. Here in a second, I'll be done with Richard.
Okay.
Well, no, but I just wanted to point out one thing. You talk about the control. I mean, it goes back to Richard Ramirez. Like the thing that he got his rocks off. Stupid saying is seeing the fear.
Yeah.
And once that fear was gone, like if like the one time he shot and it bounced off and didn't kill the lady, she didn't have any fear. He's just like, all right, later.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of killings where they'll strangle someone to almost death and then they'll stop
Yeah.
and then they strangle because they're watching that fear. They're getting off on
Right.
watching that, which is actually psychologically as a sexual thing.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, the last thing I was there's two more things I was gonna mention about Gaik is in the 20th line of the 408 cipher, it spells Gyke.
Right.
And I just thought that was really interesting because I had said before that, because you're like, man, I don't know, like if he really put his name in there. For me, because this is such a game, I feel like his name is in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whoever it is, right?
Right. No, yeah. I mean, that could just be a coincidence, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like, it could be like a pseudonym. It could
Yeah.
be like something very abstract that only a few people would know. But I do believe like his name is in there, or even if it's coded within the cipher. So
Yeah.
just throwing that out there.
No,
But yeah,
and that's right. I mean,
Gaik is
and
found
because
in
you
it.
wouldn't want to make it so obvious either.
Right? Yeah. Garrett Drussel.
So they can say my name's in there, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna. It's
well,
gonna
they,
be.
he wants this thing to go
But
on
what
forever.
also think about the thing he did. His thing was pronunciations, almost not correct spelling.
Right.
You know, it was like he was sounding out the word.
Right.
It wasn't spelled right, but it was,
Right.
So
well, and
that's
even
something
like,
else.
when he wrote for the publication, it was Dick Gaik.
Right.
Right, not Richard Gaikowski, and so to have Gaik misspelled within the cipher to me is just coincidence.
Right. From what I understand, that's what his friends all called him Gaik. That was
Right,
his
yeah.
nickname.
So all
Very
interesting
intelligent.
stuff.
Wasn't he a very intelligent guy
He was
as well?
Yep. I think that's all.
You're missing the one like key thing about the mental institution.
Yes. During the 3 years where there were no letters from the Zodiac, he was actually in a mental institution.
Really?
Gaik was. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
When he got out, they started up again.
Yep, and he got out. Yeah,
Wow.
around the time it started up again. I don't know. I didn't get past that. Like I don't know what ended up happening to him and everything like that. But I mean, again, it's just another solid suspect that it could be a lot of coincidences. It's all circumstantial, right?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up one thing before Dylan starts his thing. Is Don Chaney again? They looked at. I think in the 90s, I think they started looking at him
Right.
because he kept almost was making Lee a patsy for this thing.
Yeah.
And if you guys come across the DNA, it might be mine because I licked all of the stamps.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Plus,
He needed a fingerprint. Yeah.
yeah, several months ago, Dylan had showed me some writing that he did, and man, it's close.
Right.
It's real close to those letters. The way he spelled words and the way he had the spaces.
Right.
But again,
I would be interested to hear what Tom Voight has to say about him
yeah,
because he interviewed him.
Don Cheney.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the letter. I think Don Cheney wrote him a letter back, and then Tom posted that on his site. And I think that's isn't that where you found that letter? And we were looking at the handwriting. It looked very
I
similar.
think so, yeah.
Man, I really wish Tom Voight would reach out so we can
I
ask him
know.
some questions.
Only if Tom, but he's too big for us.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk to us.
We seem like such. We seem like such assholes.
I wouldn't want to play with you if you're gonna be that way.
I know exactly.
No, we
No.
respect the crap out of him, man. I was like, his videos are amazing.
Yeah, no, listen, that guy's busy, man. Like I said, he's
Committed.
He's very committed. He's been working on it, I think, since 1998. I started looking at his site about maybe 10 years ago. And yeah, he's put so much work into that. And like I said, he's a busy guy. And all the major networks, they go to him when they
Right.
need
Yeah.
information on Zodiac. Okay, so we're going to go over two other people three, I'm sorry, that I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
My son Dylan found these, and do you want to sit over here? So
Yeah, it'll be easier.
Here, sit
yeah.
right here.
So I gotta go to the bathroom anyway.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Okay, yeah, sit right there.
Okay.
And then we're gonna switch.
Yeah. Not happening.
I tried to hand it to
Exactly.
Dylan.
Exactly it.
Let's go over these guys, Dill Pickle.
Okay, where's the? There it is. Okay.
Put them on, boy.
Okay. Let's see. Where's the? I'm gonna work this. Where's the?
I know. What
slides?
the hell is he doing? Hey, here's the slides right here.
Right here.
I'm trying to teach you.
Right there.
Yeah, just click. I think try to click on one.
Okay, no. Oh.
Oh no, click on another.
There it
okay,
is,
okay.
okay.
Now I think you click.
Yeah. Okay. So
Boom.
first suspect we're going over is my friend Lloyd researched this one. His name's Troy Houghton, right?
Houghton.
Houghton.
I would say Houghton.
My apologies. Troy
Yeah.
Houghton. Okay, so this guy obviously already fits the description. Very stocky, widow's peak,
Absolutely.
horn rimmed glasses, I believe is what they're called.
Glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull this up real quick.
Face. A little
Oh.
bit round, but
yeah. Kind of a big nose, but
yeah.
Okay, so in one of the Zodiac letters, the Zodiac mentioned a little list,
Yeah.
and in the Troy was part of a organization called the Minutemen.
Ooh.
It was a anti-communist, very
Okay.
political thing,
Right.
kind of. I'm pretty sure also anti-police, sort of.
Okay.
And with this was they had a part in the little article that they had in the newspaper, or I think they might have had their magazine, but they had a part where they had their little list, which kind of makes
That's
it
interesting.
a little weird.
Yeah, that is interesting.
His known arrest: he was arrested in November 11th, 1961, for the failure to register as a sex offender. He was then
So he's a creep.
Yeah, he was a creep. He was definitely a creep. And then he was arrested and convicted in 1966 of illegal possession of a gun with a silencer.
Interesting.
Yeah, didn't Mike Majo say that he thought that gun had a silencer on
Right.
it because he said it didn't make a huge loud noise.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another possibility. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I just want to see what you're gonna say.
Well, look who's back.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
I was going to go take a nap.
And then he went underground in 1967 when he was arrested on November 11, 1961 for failure to register as a sex offender. Police found 3 guns and some ammo in his home. Sergeant Orr said Houghton
Yeah.
was belligerent and even slugged a news photographer when he left the
Jeez.
police station. So he obviously didn't like the media, which would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
kind of weird for the Zodiac. Although if you were being nearly going to get caught for the Zodiac,
Right.
you might want to be
Act
that
out.
way.
You would
Yeah.
act out. Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Oh, if you're the Zodiac and you're about to get found out, and you would be
Busted.
you'd be
Yeah.
pissed off at the
Yeah.
media. You would hit a reporter.
You would not like the media.
Right. Yeah.
On March 1st, 1957, he's arrested in charge of an indecent exposure. So
Party boy.
I know. He claims that he was sunbathing.
Oh my god. Okay.
Anyways, if you go to the, let me get this pulled up. You see the Minutemen symbol? Very weird, because it looks like the Zodiac symbol.
Wow. Looks like you're looking down a scope.
Yeah, crosshairs exactly like
Yeah.
the Zodiac. Which is very weird, especially considering.
He's certainly got that stocky built,
Oh yeah,
everything too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and then for the Halloween card, on the Halloween card, the front of
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Is this the one that was sent to Paul Avery? Is it?
I believe so, yeah.
Same card.
Who's okay? Yeah, got you.
Yeah, on the front of it was a skeleton with a pumpkin over his, let's say, pelvic area.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this could be a hint towards him being a flasher because he had indecent exposure.
True.
Which is very, very weird.
Is
Go ahead.
Is there something weird about this though that tied Geik? And was it a something in the Good Times paper, like a promotional thing? Have you seen that?
What, the skeleton?
No. The writing on the left. Where he
Oh.
actually wrote like that. Have you seen anything like that?
Oh, where it's like as an advertisement, he's writing like.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean. I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll find that for the next episode.
Other clues was the by fire, by knife, by gun, by rope, slaves in paradise, kind of form an H and a T.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Yep. And that's definitely how he always spelled paradise with a C, D-I-C-E.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm noticing too the ends. I'm sorry. I'm just saying I'm noticing the ends. Guns in is correct, but knives is backwards.
Wow.
Oh, the N. Yeah,
that's
you're right.
interesting, Yeah. See, which I just think he did that crap on purpose, man.
Yeah. I would think so.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that skeleton's not anatomically correct.
It isn't? Come on. Are you dumb?
Yeah, I agree.
That's what my skeleton looks like. Go on now,
Yeah,
little
I'm sorry.
boy. Come on now, boy.
In the card, there. Oh, hang on a second. Sorry.
The heck?
Excuse me. No, that's for later. I
Okay.
didn't want to make it weird.
what
with
is
the,
this?
This is the inside of it.
Ah.
Inside of it was what it was. So if you count all the eyes, there's 13 eyes in total. And the Minutemen's flag also had 13 stars, which was represented from the, like the very original American flag that was a circle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got you.
that's what they think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So he was like Die Hard Minuteman.
Yes,
Got it.
very.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
If
he
he
was
was-
the leader.
yeah, okay,
if he was
gotcha.
Zodiac. That's pretty much all for him. It's again,
Hey,
a
that's-
bunch of a hearsay, but at the end,
Did you talk about that 4 thing, the symbol? I may have been out when you were talking
the
about
4
that.
symbol.
Yeah, the symbol at the bottom. You said that.
Oh no, that's the other one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
That's the next one. You're fine. That's pretty much it. Shout out to Lloyd for doing all that research.
Well
though.
done, Lloyd.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Okay, so now this is my suspect that I researched. His name is Donald Lee Bujok.
Okay.
He was arrested in 1958.
Look at that hair,
or
dude.
57, I believe.
Look at that hair.
I know. Very clean
Right?
cut. Donald Lee Bujok was arrested in 1957 for the murder of Deputy Otto Fossen.
Okay.
He served in prison for 11 years. He in prison he had said that he learned how to stitch prison guard uniforms together, which could be where the Zodiac got the skill to make that really nice
Right.
Zodiac symbol for his execution mask.
Well, and even the whole outfit.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Bujok also served in the military background in the 6th Infantry Division for approximately 8 months in 1958. The 6th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army was active in World War I and World War II, the last years of the Cold War. Bujok would have come across the California Veterans Association symbol, which looks very similar to the symbol that the Zodiac had placed on the bottom left. Bottom left of the card. Now I'm gonna
Which symbol? Point to me.
It's right.
for me.
It's right here. This one right here.
Okay. All right. So if you're looking on the screen, it's like if you go directly down from the skeleton's
Skeleton,
right
yeah.
leg. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
next to the Z.
Yeah. I'm gonna admit I couldn't find anywhere what the California Veterans Association symbol looked like back then, But supposedly, what this guy got from it was that there was a Z,
I see
V,
that. Yep.
and an F
Yep.
all together, and
ZVF.
then there's 4 dots.
Right.
So he read it as Zodiac is a veteran with 4F. Donald Lee Bujok was released from the military on the registration of 4F, which was mental illness.
Wow. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Donald
Is that
Lee-
what that 4F meant when I got out of the military?
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Yes,
That's
it
Dang,
exactly
dude.
what it
You're a little mentally ill,
I
Garrett.
had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Donald Lee Bujok served at a garrison base, where you can also see in the bottom left corner, what
That-
seems like might be the Zodiac symbol, where you could have got
Oh.
inspiration from it.
Got you. Okay.
Give me one second, I'm looking at my notes.
Bottom left corner there. It kind of looks like a baseball field.
Yeah. Ed Edwards, who served along Donald Lee Bujok, he made a book called The Metamorphosis of
Yes.
a Criminal.
Right.
In the book, he said that
Wait, did they serve together or were they incarcerated together?
they served together.
Okay.
I'm like, well, what do you mean
Like, were they in prison together?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
They were
They served in the
cellmates.
When you said
military,
serve,
or they served their sentences.
Yeah.
They were cellmates.
Okay, that's
They were
all right. All right.
cellmates.
Wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Edward Edwards said that Donald Bujok was one of the most like uncomfortable, very dangerous criminals in there. He said that an inmate who particularly stands out in my mind was the man who killed a deputy sheriff. When the posse found him hiding out in an outhouse, he told them, "You can't convict me because I swallowed the evidence." He had swallowed the bullets.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get them out of you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
This demented individual.
Someone's in the latrine.
Yeah, exactly. This demented individual showed an overwhelming interest in science fiction and Egyptian literature. He believed that anyone he killed would be a slave in the next life.
Wow, that's pretty compelling.
That's written.
Yeah,
That's printed.
But then again, Ed Edwards.
Yeah, Ed Edwards like the master criminal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and there's even a school of thought that he was the Zodiac, and there's actually some good evidence.
Yeah, but
to
we
that.
didn't know about the slaves until after the cipher was corrected, or did he mention that before? There's been so many letters and everything.
No, that was in the cipher about the slaves.
So what I would like to see when that was first published and when this book was published, or at least written, because that would be interesting.
Well, there's also on the Halloween card too, Paradise and Slaves.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
I know that's really very like
That's
very suspicious.
Weird. Yeah.
Donald Lee Bujok, during the Lake Berryessa attacks, they said that their killer had said that he was from he escaped from a Montana prison, and then he'd killed a guard and was going to Mexico. So pretty much, Donald Lee Bujok served in Deer Lodge Prison in Montana.
No way.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Now, if you think of it from this standpoint, where I'm going to kill both of these people, I don't care
Doesn't matter.
about giving my details. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I'll make up my own little story. Some of it will be true, some of it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I escaped the Montana prison and killed a guard. I'm going to rob you. I'm going to Mexico. See, that would make more sense to me if he had mentioned that he escaped from a Montana prison.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
He wasn't afraid of it.
Well,
Because he
and-
thought both of them had died. He had called in saying, "I want to report one murder." No, wait, 2.
Right.
Because he thought he killed both.
Right.
Well, and the other thing too is like if you're in California and you're gonna do this double homicide, and you know you're gonna kill them, it'd be completely random just to make up like, hey, I'm coming from a prison in Montana.
You know, something that's weird to me is like, why did the Zodiac call and report these homicides? Because now you've got more of a chance, if I left a survivor, of them surviving and giving some type of description of myself.
Yeah, but he stabbed him with a foot-long knife. So I'm sure he was like, dude, there's
How many stab wounds did Brian have?
Yeah, but why even report it? I mean,
for
why?
fun?
Yeah, I guess
It's a
just,
game.
part of the
just
risk.
again. Yeah, again, it's the game.
Yeah.
Part of the
And I'm
risk.
gonna leave it off the hook so you can find this phone. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, like the reporter found the phone.
yeah, that's insane.
Okay, then to go to Kathleen Johns. Kathleen Johns was her name, right?
Yeah, she was the one that was kidnapped
Yeah,
from the car.
yeah. Bujok was said to have these deadpan eyes, very like nothing behind him, sort of. Right, that's what
Hollow,
deadpan. That's what
yeah.
deadpan means.
Kind of
right?
like Garrett.
Yeah, exactly. No, but
No laughing.
yeah. So, my apologies.
This is not funny.
Bujok was said to have deadpan eyes too, very composed and a shy look. When asked stuff, he'd kind of state himself, not say much. And I thought that was, I mean, you have to think about it when it comes to that.
Right.
So now moving on to my next suspect. This is a very weird name. Xenophon Lesby Anthony.
That's a very weird picture. I'm not trying to be rude, but he looks like that would be his name.
Yes.
He looks like an animal.
If you want to be honest, I think he kind of looks like Michael Jackson. A little bit.
Like an animal.
Oh God! Here we go.
Oh, no.
Now the comments I'm gonna get.
Oh no! Stop! No, it is okay. Go on.
Okay.
Do you think that picture looks like the sketch though?
I do. I think it looks.
It
a lot.
looks like a 60s singer like Fabian or something to me.
Yeah.
I do think it looks a lot of the sketch.
Like a little heartthrob.
Yeah. Xenophon Lesby Anthony lived in Presidio Heights.
Oh,
wow,
that's interesting.
He lived. The whole thing
God,
was that
everybody. I mean, think about that guy, Lawrence Kane, and Gaikowski.
Yeah, but also this isn't like Oklahoma City. This is
Maybe this
San
was
Francisco,
a bit.
though.
Maybe this was a big conspiracy, like some people think. Maybe there was 2 Zodiacs.
I wouldn't go that far. I most say it was multiple murders.
But can that many people keep a secret too?
No, I don't think that they actually were like running around with each other.
Yeah.
I think that they just started playing along.
Yeah.
The game,
Maybe.
man.
Yeah, right.
but maybe that's it. It's
Yeah.
the game, and it's kind of like tag. You're it.
Yeah.
You go do your murder now.
Right, yeah. But how weird is it though
Who's
that
gonna break the chain?
the consistency. You okay there, Keith?
Yeah, I'm fine.
The consistency though of like the letters and the ciphers and stuff.
Yeah.
That always draws you back to being one person. Gotta have that gum. He's gotta have that gum.
You didn't
Okay,
even ask me.
tell us about this cat.
Okay, so this guy was born.
Because it looks like a cat. It really does. He looks like a cat. Okay, go ahead.
An animal. Anyways, this guy was born January 8th, 1931 at Spokane, Washington to Dr. It says Dr. This may have been my fault. It says Dr. Mark and Ruth Anthony. Graduated from doctors. Okay. Yeah, doctors Mark and Ruth Anthony. Graduated from Lakeside School in Seattle in 1949. Graduated from Harvard in 1953. So very, very, very smart guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Moved to San Francisco in 1966, based on Obit, which is what? Is that where you get to?
Sounds familiar.
Based on what?
Obit.
Yeah, based on Obit, OBIT.
Oh, his obituary.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
My apologies. He had a vacation home in Lake Berryessa.
What?
Also, I'm pretty sure.
You're making
Show's
this up.
over. We're done.
Yeah, sorry.
So this is the wealthy, intelligent
Yes.
bored kid. That
Yes.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
think of those 2 kids that killed their
Yeah.
parents who were rich. I can't remember the
Menendez.
Menendez
But
brothers.
also think about the other 2 that killed the little kid back in the 40s. Leopold and
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
I also had
entitled.
I
Right.
also had a vacation home in Napa, 1 hour away. He eyewitness account. There was an 8-year-old witness to the Paul Stein murder. Lived at 3898 Washington Street, right in front of the taxi cab. He ID'd Xenophon Anthony by name as at the scene, saying that he may be a subject in the matter.
Yeah, that's weird. And
Yeah.
that was from an 8-year-old, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. It was from an 8-year-old, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like,
How would the 8-year-old know this guy?
because I'm assuming it's a neighborhood. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
yeah.
you kind of not know like everyone, but you maybe.
Well, you're
Yeah,
thinking,
just familiar with him, I
well,
guess.
you're talking. I mean, his name's Xenophobe. First off,
Yeah.
Xenophon.
and then secondly, it's the 60s in San Francisco. Like you're probably out and about playing and meeting people. And,
Yeah, the Presidio. I mean, that whole area is kind of a little community,
yeah.
so it makes sense.
Okay. 1013. Letter arrives 2 days after the Stein murder. School children. He said. School children make nice targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning to shoot out the front tires and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing
The
out.
Zodiac said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this could be the fact that maybe the Z had sold a child witness and this was a threat towards them saying, "Hey, be quiet, don't say anything."
Oh, wow.
That's actually interesting.
So he makes it very broad, just any school bus, but maybe he meant like
Right.
the school bus of
yeah,
the
yeah.
of the
Well,
kid.
he also, I mean, in his letters, he did call people out, like the brown-headed, the brown net, as he called her, that shunned me in high school, and the blonde
yeah.
that babysits and walks down.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he is targeting certain
Yeah.
people. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Good job, Dylan.
I
This
know.
is
Hey,
great, dude.
I
Keep
got.
going.
I have some more. 1027 Halloween card envelope says sorry, no cipher, written in an X form. I believe it should be. Oh,
Hey.
I'm sorry. It should. Yeah, it's this one. Written in an X cipher. It says sorry, no cipher, written in an X form 2 times. And this could be possible irony due to the fact that the first letter in his name is X, is an X, Xenophon Anthony, which he
Xenophon.
was known to go by Zine,
Right.
pronounced like Z-E-N.
Okay,
It's
got
X-E-N.
you. Ooh.
Did he have a criminal record?
Yeah, I don't think he did.
No,
I
dude.
couldn't-
Harvard grad, just
yeah,
you know,
I don't think
like
he did. I don't think he did.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of killers who never had, you
right.
Ted
yeah,
Kaczynski.
definitely.
like the Golden
Yep.
State Killer,
Yeah.
never had a record.
Right.
That concludes my suspect.
Well, very good.
Dude, that was really good.
Nice job.
Actually, man.
Did I get an A plus?
Yeah, absolutely. You
got
should
an A+.
tell your teachers you did this, and
know,
maybe you
right?
get some extra credit, right?
Yeah.
Show them the video.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we gonna talk about these guys now?
Yeah, we can.
We've been running.
show ever.
Yeah.
No, if we started at 7:15, we're just now coming up on 2.5.
Okay, perfect.
Well, no,
Let's talk
I
about
don't
them real
think we've
fast.
ever done a 2.5-hour show.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
We have?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
is
think
that-
we have as if I'm part of
Is
it.
that all the slides, Dylan? Oh, this is the new Zodiac sketch. I wanted to
that's
show this.
Crazy.
Who did this, Dylan? Do you know?
It was an artist who had just some free time, thought it'd be kind of fun, and he took eyewitness accounts together, and I'm assuming he took the original sketch together and just kind of made him a little fatter, made him a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense because now you've got exactly.
Closet.
I never could understand that sketch they came out with. That guy looked like he weighed 125 pounds or
Exactly,
something,
yeah.
and everybody described his Zodiac as way over 200 pounds. So this guy's got a little weight in his face. That's probably a more realistic picture there.
It's already
Sketch.
more realistic than the guy that looks skinny.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Hey, we're back.
Yay.
Okay,
Dude, hey, great show.
it is a great show. I like this show.
I'm glad that you added those two at the end though, because I think what it does when you add them in is it shows you how complicated and also how simple this case is, because every single person we talk to is somehow tied into Darlene Ferrin. I think almost.
Yeah.
But no, they're all in the area, all during the same time. They all kind of look alike. You know, it just
The connections are weird. I mean,
Isn't it?
Going back to, like you said, Darlene Ferrin. I mean, she knew like 3 of the suspects.
were you at her paint party?
I was.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I was like 4 years old,
Yeah.
helping out.
Yeah.
No, but
It's odd, though, right?
The coincidences in this case, it's crazy because
So,
there's a
but-
connection.
And it almost makes you believe that theory that this wasn't just one person. But the thing that keeps me tethered to the idea that it was one person is the consistency in the letters, the ciphers, and
If anything, it makes me feel like there's one letter. There's one guy writing letters, and he's just taking
Right.
credit for all the other murders.
right.
Yeah, well, I think that probably did happen after the initial murders.
37-0.
Yeah, I think he would read articles in the paper and he'd take credit for it.
And he was
you know.
he was morbidly obese at that time and couldn't do it. So
Well,
therefore he was,
if it's Ross, if it's
You know what I'm
Ross
saying?
Sullivan,
Yeah.
yeah, Ross couldn't have done that because he got heavier and heavier as time went
Right.
by, and especially if he wasn't driving a car. That's one. We got a great crew out there. So
We do,
if
yeah.
anybody knows that, did Ross Sullivan? Is that a fact? He did not drive. I heard he drove in Riverside, but after that was not driving.
Can I just point out that that's kind of a weird thing to be known though? Like I hope in 50 years people don't know if I drove or not. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
for
kinda
Russell, it's just kind of an odd thing. Like you can drive unless was there like something wrong with him or
I don't know.
His mental illness, right?
Yeah,
He
I
had
know,
bad
but
mental illness.
A
He had-
lot of people that are mentally ill can drive a car.
I mean, he had
Yeah.
he had schizophrenia, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he veers off the road in case he sees a visual hallucination, veers off the road, can cause a crash.
Maybe,
They deem
but
him unsafe.
But I mean, it wouldn't exclude him from driving when he's committing crimes.
Could it be the?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Could
Like-
it be the morbid obesity? But we all know people who are morbidly obese that still drive.
right?
So, and I don't know much about the Pickwick syndrome that he died of. I don't know if that's a cardiovascular. Are you familiar with that, Pam? Being a nurse?
I can't. I've heard of it. I cannot recall a single solitary detail about it at the moment.
Yeah,
But
Dylan, look
I'll
that
get
up.
you-
And
I'll get you some answers though.
What is
Yeah.
it? What was it?
Pickwickian's, I think, disease.
Pickwickian?
Yeah,
How do you wick?
just sounded out like disease.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
guess
Yeah, I got it. Pickwickian syndrome, clinically known as obesity hyperventilation syndrome, is a condition that affects the blood. It occurs when your blood doesn't have enough oxygen and has too much carbon dioxide.
Interesting.
Okay, well, and then obesity would kind of just feed right into
yeah,
that.
It would be caused because of that.
Yeah, and the heavier you got, the worse that would get.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
So, wow. Any last things you guys want to? I do want to show you. First of all, just tell me if this worked. I know we tried to show the video of Brian Hartnell's interview last week, and OBS has a glitch in it. So I think I figured it out. So this guy was incredible. And I do want to show this because he had no grudge. He said he wished he could help this individual out. Most people would have been angry, bitter. You know, his girl, I don't know if actually Cecilia and him they used to
Close
date.
friends, yeah.
I don't know if they were just close friends, but still, even your close friend, if someone murdered your close friend,
Unbelievable.
how
yeah.
could you not
But
be
his humbleness is just.
Yeah, so I do want to show a little piece of that for you guys, and let me know immediately if it works or not. So I'm going to try this out because the guy's, he's
Pretty remarkable.
he's a remarkable individual for sure. So let's see if this works, and if you guys hear this, let me know in the chat room, and if you don't, then I know what to do. You have to restart OBS. Okay.
Good job, Keith.
Why does that always happen?
We
to
want you
me?
guys to lip read.
Okay. I'm going to try something, you
But can I see
guys.
it?
I know it's late and you probably want to go to bed, but I'm going to try something here, so just hang with me.
I really wanted to help him, and he
Did
didn't.
Did he seem as though he would like your help at all?
No, he didn't, and he didn't even end up taking the money. But I
Bear no grudge.
well, of course not. I don't think that he was acting under his total complete consciousness. And when a man is, if you don't mind using the word sick, you can't hold this against them. But the real concern that I have is that he doesn't do this again. I'd like to see some people save this experience.
Early last Saturday.
Okay, we'll stop it at that. There was more I was wanting to show you, but that was. I apologize about that. Okay,
Get
so
your act together, Dad. Come on.
I know. Well, there's an OBS. If you initially start it right when you open up OBS, it'll play. But if you wait for a very long time, then when you try to play it, it doesn't work, and that's why I had to shut the stream down for just a minute and get it back on. So I apologize for that. But is there anything else anybody
Well,
wants
no,
to?
hey, I just gonna say the gist of that. The reason why you were like so keen on last episode and this episode showing that is just because how impressed you are with this guy's humbleness and his like state of mind after going through such a horrific event. I mean, this is the event where the guy was wearing the hat, the Zodiac killer was wearing the outfit. I mean,
Right.
can you imagine?
No, I can't. It
God.
would be terrifying.
I wouldn't be
and-
talking to anybody, dude.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we better shut it down.
Yep.
Are we gonna go over who we think the Zodiac is, or is that next episode?
No, well, I don't. Is there going to be another episode?
Let's do one more.
Oh Lord.
How though?
No, I don't know if we can do another.
Okay, who do you think it was?
I think it was either. Now I think it might have been Richard Gaikowski, or Lawrence Kane. And the reason I say that because the likeness of the sketch, he's living in that area. I never heard that one thing that when you were reading your thing where he said, "Get your rocks off," which
Right.
again, that could have been a popular phrase back then.
But to write it.
But he seemed like a really intelligent guy, encouraged to misspell words on the paper. So I'm going to go with either Richard Gaikowski or Ross Sullivan.
I'm going with Richard.
You going
I'm
with
going
Richard?
with Gaik. Yep.
You going with one person?
I'm going with one person.
Um,
I think more people may have been involved. Like,
Do you think
But
there
I
was a
don't-
conspiracy?
but I don't think that they were necessarily like. I don't know. It's tough, man. This is just
Yeah, it
like
is.
one of the most baffling things ever.
I think that I think Richard Gaikowski is a good suspect to have, considering the fact that Arthur Lee Allen disproven.
Right.
Lawrence Kane, not necessarily disproven, but you know, New York accent, Henry
Right.
didn't match, just various stuff like that.
Right.
Here's the other one. Ross Sullivan
Couldn't drive.
supposedly could have drive,
Right.
and it really just leaves kind of Richard Gaikowski as like, well, he was Zodiac or wasn't, is sort of hearsay, she say, or yeah.
Well, another thing I didn't mention too is they say that during a couple of these crimes that he was out of the country in Ireland, but I've heard people say that like in 1969 and in 1968, you could pretty much get away, like, and you could come up with an alibi. It's not like today,
Yeah.
where they're gonna track you through the airport and like.
What do you guys think about maybe Ross Sullivan for the Cheri Bates murder for sure?
And
Yeah,
then somebody seeing
definitely.
that,
Definitely
yeah, I
Cheri
get
Jo
that.
Bates
I
for
definitely
Ross
get that.
Sullivan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And
That would be closer to like my theory or the theory I like, that Ross Sullivan committed that first letter or that first crime, wrote the letter, put the Z, and then somebody piggybacked on that and was like, I'm going to run with this. And
Yeah, it
ran
could
with
I
be.
can see that, considering it's
Yeah.
just Z, you have open for
and
interpretation.
then,
You can
and
make
then
your own
think
thing.
how complicated that makes it for the police. If you
Oh,
got
yeah.
if you got two guys killing people, you got one taking credit. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, DNA is not going to match.
Right.
But I wish they would do the DNA matches on everybody. But then again, that's another question I wanted to ask. Do you guys think this DNA they have off the stamp is his DNA?
If it's not his, and then it's somebody very close to him.
You think so?
Well, how else would
Oh,
he get the
you're talking about
stamp?
the Zodiac or
Yeah,
Gaikowski?
no, the Zodiac.
Yeah,
No, I'm
Zodiac.
talking about
Zodiac
the,
in
the,
general.
the DNA sample that San
lifted off
Francisco
It would, have
has.
to, it would have to be somebody very close to him. You don't just have somebody lick stamps for you and put them on.
Yeah.
Mona says, but Keith, you didn't talk about Dave T.
Dave Toshi.
Dave Toski, yeah.
Oh, Mona, why did you talk about
Yes,
that?
actually, Dylan, do you have your?
Yes, I do. Hang on. let me
Okay,
pull it up.
my son. Thank you, Mona,
Thank
because
you, Mona.
that Dylan is going to bring that up. I asked him to do some research on Dave. You got to remember, I work full time and all that. I'm sorry.
Been packing the house.
Yeah.
Packing the
It's
house.
at the very bottom.
Yeah, Dave Toski, very important in this. I apologize. We almost forgot. Okay. It's very limited, but we'll just go through this. Born Dave Toski, July 11th, my birthday, except not 1931 for him. A little later for me.
1947.
A little later.
San Francisco, California, died January 6, 2018. He was also on the movie set, The Zodiac, and he worked with Mark Ruffalo. Is that how you say
Mark
it?
Ruffalo.
Yeah, I
Ruffalo.
love Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, fantastic. Toshi was born to an Italian-American family of Sam and Millie Toski in San Francisco and was an alumni of Galileo High School. Immediately upon graduation, he joined the U.S. Army and became a member of the 24th Infantry Division during the Korean War, honorably discharged in 1952. He returned to San Francisco in 1953 and was hired at the police department, where he worked until retiring in 1985. When returning to San Francisco, Toski joined the San Francisco Police Department, where he served from 52 to 87. He was assigned to its homicide detail from 1966 to 78. He is best known for his role as a chief investigator in the Zodiac killer case. And let's not forget Bill Armstrong,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
which he and his partner, Bill Armstrong, began to work on after the murder of the taxi driver, Paul Stein. And that's when he first got involved, because the Stein murder being a Zodiac killing, then he kind of led that whole thing.
Got you.
Mr. Toski's name would still be invoked whenever the case resurfaced in the news, as it did in 2001. When an effort was made to apply DNA testing to some of the evidence, the results of the testing did not match any suspects. Mr. Toski's daughter said he always thought that a suspect named Arthur Leigh Allen, who died in 1992, was a Zodiac. If you get into who these cops were, Mr. Ruffalo said in another 2007 interview, you realize how they have to take their hunches, their personal beliefs out of it. Dave Toski said to me, as soon as that guy walked in the door, I knew it was him. He was sure he had him, but he never had a solid piece of evidence, so he had to keep investigating every other lead. In a 1978 interview, Mr. Toski estimated that he had talked to 5,000 people during his Zodiac investigation. And that's Dave Toski. Yeah, he was a hell of a investigator.
Right, yeah.
Just to be clear, I pulled those from a bunch of articles and kind of all together get all the information from that.
Of course.
Yeah, so Dave and Bill Armstrong, they worked mercilessly on it. But I think Dave had a little tunnel vision with Arthur Leigh Allen.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I know Dave Peterson from the Vallejo Times, I think it was, a newspaper, he tried to get Dave to look at Ross Sullivan and kind of was getting the blow off a little bit. Yeah. I think Dave was so set on it being Arthur Leigh Allen that he didn't like Sullivan for the murders.
You would almost have to be tunnel vision though, like if you were interviewing 5,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That would wear on you.
It would.
Oh,
definitely.
I can't even imagine talking to 5,000 people about that case.
Until we get there. Until we get there.
But yeah, so it's sad because I mean, Dave Toski, we still haven't had this solved. One of the things I know he wanted before he died was to find out who the Zodiac was.
Yeah.
And it never happened. And we may never know. I mean, it's such an old case. And the DNA, like I said, I'm kind of iffy about it. It supposedly is a good sample.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, we will see you next Thursday.
Zodiac, man. Jeez, dude.
Yeah, talk about that. This was a tough case. It was very time consuming.
Well, even for seasoned professionals like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's difficult.
No bad language.
Okay.
And I know you didn't say anything. I pushed the wrong button. I was looking for the applause button. But anyway. All right. So, guys, thank you so much.
Plan on next Thursday.
Plan on next Thursday.
Like and subscribe, please.
Yeah, and we'll announce.
Mona says thank you because now she can sleep because Dave Toski was the whole focal point for her theory on the case, which is
Arthur Leigh Allen.
No,
basically.
No, wait. You're talking about the hoax, right?
Yeah, the hoax is multiples.
Right.
Yeah. So me and Garrett's talking about a couple other cases we're going to look at. We'll let you know something probably Monday. Hopefully it won't be as hard as this one. But
thank you guys for sticking with us.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate every one of you guys for staying up late.
Thank you, Dylan, for being our
Dylan.
advisor here.
I hope that presentation wasn't too
It was fantastic. You did great.
Man.
You just like your old man.
Just like your old man.
And thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you, Keith.
And especially thank all of you guys for everything.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
We love you.
And we do love you guys, and that you even watch our channel is awesome. So like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you next week.
From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon.